Chapter 542. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan now had something to do. They were faced with a very profound problem. Is it because of curiosity, or because of the environment? Wang Wan raised 2 points. The first was easy to understand, but the second was to adjust the environment around the children as much as possible. They had to constantly create accidents. Could all the children have the initiative to analyze and act? Then let's add more toys to it. Let's see if they can still think of ways to make some kind of change. Yes, change. Take the bell from the door to the rope. If the first time was a coincidence, then the next 3 times would be impossible. Also, you see, they know that shaking the bell can make it ring, so they are exerting force on it. They may not know the principle behind the bell ringing, but they can observe. Very well, let them shake it. Perhaps they will learn to exert force in one direction after shaking it a little. Make a small swing, lower from the ground and thicker. See if they know how to exert strength in one direction at the same time when they climb up to play. Zhang Xiaobao didn't know what kind of problems such big children could think about, but he knew that thinking was sometimes a habit. Since the 4 little guys showed it, then they had to be trained well. Li Sun came down from the ladder at this time and said to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, "It's really amazing. They can think of putting the bell on the rope to make a sound. Maybe both of you are born to be amazing." Zhang Xiaobao smiled and pulled Wang Wan along as he ran back. One reason was to let his parents come over to take a look. Perhaps the 4 little ones had not played enough. The other reason was to make other toys. I think we should make a simple little maze for them to play. When they can find the right way every time, we will make it a little more complicated. They will slowly get used to it. Wang Wan suggested. Okay, I will ask someone to do it later. The one in the amusement park is not good. It is too big, and it is not suitable for children to climb around. We should also design a kind of door. Make a password lock on the door and use a big round ball as the password. As long as the ball is pulled in order, the door can be opened. First 3, then gradually increase the number. Let them play. Zhang Xiaobao originally planned to take out such a game when the 4 little guys were 1 or 2 years old. It seemed that he should take it out now. He really didn't know whether it was because of the good genes, the influence of the usual environment, or nutrition. Not to mention him, even the scientists who specialized in studying babies couldn't figure it out. It was too complicated. While the mothers of the 2 families ran to check on the little babies, the 2 of them went into their own houses and started to design. 2 days later, the new toys were made. At this time, the people who were sent by the imperial court to replace Zhang Zhong arrived. There were more than 10 of them, and some of them were originally idle positions that were not assigned. Before these people came, they were very polite to Zhang Zhong. Perhaps they were instructed by the people behind them, so they were very polite to him. In fact, they had no choice but to be polite. When they arrived at the place after a hard journey, the scene they saw shocked them to their core. It was too beautiful. Being an official in a place like this was like being in a fairyland. Although they already knew that the construction here was good, when they saw it with their own eyes, they had a different feeling. When they came, there was a big difference between what they imagined and what they saw. The arrival of the officials meant that Zhang Zhong was leaving. Li Sun also didn't want to stay here any longer. After packing up, Old Man Chong and Old Man Pai also quietly boarded the ship at night. Then they slowly left the dock. Zhang Zhong had gone through a parting once. He didn't want the people of Luzhou or the people of Wulei County, who was closest to him, to line up to see him off like the people of Huayuan County. However, on the morning of the 2nd day after they left, when the local people found that the person in the yamen had been replaced, they immediately protested. They questioned the new provincial governor about where the good official had gone. It seemed that if the new provincial governor did not explain clearly, it would cause a revolt among the people. The people of Luzhou did not care about the new official. To put it bluntly, it was too easy for them to deal with the new official. They could just send their children in the army to arrest the new official. There was no way for them to reason with the new official. The mountain people would not stop them. They approved of Zhang Zhong more than the local people. In their eyes, there was only Zhang Zhong, not the emperor. When Zhang Zhong said that he would lead them to revolt, they would also nod their heads in agreement. This was especially true for a mountain person's child who was also on the ship. He was also Zhang Zhong's adopted son. This made the mountain people approve of Zhang Zhong even more. The new provincial governor was frightened. This was the first time he had encountered such a situation. In the past, he had been a county magistrate and a judge, but he had never seen any place where the people loved and respected an official so much. Today he had learned something new. The people's customs were indeed different. Helpless, he no longer cared about his dignity as a provincial governor. He told the whole story from beginning to end. When he saw the house where he had enjoyed the night before, he took the initiative to ask for a place to stay. The people were reasonable. They did not ask the new provincial governor to look for a place to stay. After all, a good official was rich and did not lack a house. Moreover, they hoped that the new provincial governor would treat them like a good official. After some discussion, they reached an agreement with the new provincial governor. As long as the new provincial governor did things like the previous provincial governor, he would be allowed to live in a house. If one day he had bad thoughts such as corruption or bending the law, then it was not just a matter of whether he could live in a house or not. He might not even be able to make it back alive. When they found out that the good official had left, the people were very disappointed. In the end, the new provincial governor came up with an idea. He asked the people to write a form of 10,000 people and had it sent to the capital. The people of Luzhou were delighted. They found a long piece of silk cloth. Those who knew how to write would write, and those who did not would leave their fingerprints. Even the children left their fingerprints with the help of the adults. They rolled it into a big bundle and had someone carry it to the Chamber of Commerce here. There were also merchants from the neighboring provinces in the Chamber of Commerce. When they found out about the situation, they also wrote their names. However, their names were different from the people's. They had to give their names to the people. After they wrote their names, they would write down the amount of money. The worst among them was at least 100 strings of cash. After they finished writing, they would take out the money. There were a total of 6 provinces around Luzhou. Including the merchants of the Chamber of Commerce, there were more than 700 people. Everyone's money amounted to 200,000 strings of cash, which was nearly 1,300,000 caddies of copper coins. A fleet of ships could not carry all of them. The money was piled up like a mountain. The dozen or so new officials were frightened. The 10,000 people's forms of 10,000 strings of cash were given to them. What did Zhang Zhong do with all the people of Luzhou? No wonder he left secretly at night. If someone found out about this, they would probably send him off for a few days. No matter what their purpose was at this moment, they could no longer compare themselves to Zhang Zhong. The new provincial governor came to Luzhou because he was greedy. However, when he saw the customs here and saw the gains after Zhang Zhong left, he wondered if he could get more money if he was not greedy. If he was greedy, he could lose his life here. He was no longer jealous of Zhang Zhong. When the gap was too big, he could not be jealous. News of what happened to Luzhou was sent to the capital by a messenger pigeon. Everyone who saw the news was moved. Although this was not the first time, the officials could not help but sigh. With the 10,000 people's forms, 200,000 strings of cash, and the longevity of the people of Luzhou, Zhang Zhong did not need to be evaluated. Nobody dared to give him a low grade, not even a medium grade. Otherwise, it would be easy for the people of Luzhou to cause trouble. Moreover, it was not only Luzhou. There was also Yaozhou, which was close to the capital, and Sanshui County, which had the annual rent and tax of 2 ordinary provinces. If it were someone else who received 200,000 strings of cash late, the officials would definitely think of a way to impeach him, saying that he was a corrupt official. After all, he had too much money. However, when it came to Zhang Zhong, no one said so. The officials had a rough idea of how much money the Zhang family had. It was a lot, so much that they could take out 110,000 strings of cash to build the road for the emperor. The more money one had, the more money one could get. Even if the officials were mentally unbalanced, there was nothing they could do. Even the emperor laughed and said that if anyone thought they were capable, there were still a few provinces over there. In the past, not to mention more than a year, even 3 years would be enough to catch up with the current Luzhou and come back for promotion. The officials retreated one after another. It was not that they did not want to be promoted, but they did not have the ability. The Zhang family was not human at all. They had even suffered a disaster. Otherwise they might have come back this summer. Zhang Zhong did not know many things had happened after he left. He could not tell what he was feeling now. He was a little reluctant and a little worried. After all, he had put in a lot of effort to build Luzhou. He did not know if the new provincial governor would treat the people of Luzhou well. In such a melancholy, he thought of his son and daughter-in-law. Since the two of them were not in a hurry, why should he be? He believed that his son and daughter-in-law were already prepared. Yes, that was it. Zhang Zhong looked at the night sky and thought so. Suddenly he thought of his son's words. The bright moon rises from the sea, and we share this moment from the end of the world. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were also standing in front of the window of the cabin, looking at the stars and the moon in the sky. It's so beautiful. I think of another song, Wang Wan said faintly. Don't tell me it's the song Stargazing, from more than 100 years ago again? Zhang Xiaobao felt that the song was a little sad. He did not like to listen to it, even though he had a different feeling every time he listened to it. No, a child shouldn't sing such a song. What I'm thinking is, there are countless stars in the sky, and the brightest one is me. I don't know where I came from and I don't know. Xiaobao, let's go around Hainan Island, shall we? Shall we? Wang Wan suddenly asked after singing a few lines. Why? Isn't the Qiongzhou Strait closer? Zhang Xiaobao was puzzled. Question: first couplet, World's End. Answer: second couplet, Cape. That's right. I'm going to write there, Wang Wan said excitedly. Write to the ends of the earth. If you have such a hobby, we won't be able to finish writing even if we travel all day. There will be many famous places. Zhang Xiaobao reacted quickly. He immediately knew what Wang Wan was thinking. Forget it. We'll talk about it next time. I don't believe that anyone can write before me. Did anyone write at Penglai Pavilion in Shandong? If we keep going by sea and don't enter the canal from Zhujiang, we can reach there. Then we can go by the Yellow River, Wang Wan said longingly. In winter, it was faster to come to Luzhou from the direction of the capital or from Shandong. However, it was troublesome to go back. There was a cold current. If they wanted to go faster, it was easy. They just had to move the ship horizontally toward the sea for a distance. Then, they would be able to encounter a warm current. However, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not want to go to Japan. Moreover, there were too many unknown dangers at sea. They had no choice but to go against the cold current. This time, Wang Wan did not mention going to Shandong anymore. They found a place where they could turn into the sea, and the fleet went in. After they were surrounded by land, the people on the ship felt much more comfortable. Those who were eager to return home increased the speed of their oars. The ship had enough supplies, and no one wanted to do any more business on the way. They did not stop at all until they reached the capital. Counting the days, only 40 days had passed. To Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, this speed could only be described with one word: slow. However, for those who had never reached such speed before, this was a miracle. There were still more than 10 days before the new year. It was enough for them to go home. The ship docked at the dock of the capital. Zhang Zhong heaved a sigh of relief. He took the things he needed and went to the palace to look for the emperor. Li Longji did not expect Zhang Zhong to come back so soon. He thought that he would only arrive after the new year. He was surprised because he had a deeper understanding of the propeller and the ship with wheels on both sides. An hour later, Zhang Zhong came out. In fact, he did not say much. He only asked about the situation on the other side and encouraged them. That was all. At this time, the ship was too big for them to sit on. The river was too shallow, and so were the boats. They could only rush back by carriage. The Zhang family and the Wang family wanted to spend the new year with their villagers. This year they came quickly and coincidentally. They wondered what would happen next year. Zhang Zhong, who was sitting in the carriage, did not say anything. His face was flushed red, and he seemed very excited. "Husband, is it difficult to meet the emperor?" Jiang Wang Clan, who was sitting beside him, asked. Zhang Zhong finally regained his senses. He smiled and said, "It's not that it's difficult to meet the emperor. It's because I found out about Lu Zhou." He told her what happened on the second day after they left. Zhang Zhong leaned back in his seat and did not say anything. He only heard about it from the emperor. He did not know why other people were officials, but he wanted to let the people live a good life and gain the recognition of the people. This time he received it. That was why he was so excited. Jiang Wang Clan was stunned when she heard this. Then she sighed and said, "It's worth it. Husband, you didn't do so many things for the people for nothing. As long as you have the 10,000 people watch, it's fine. Money isn't important." Zhang Zhong nodded and did not say anything else. The carriage was silent for a moment. However, before Zhang Zhong could digest what he had just heard, when the convoy arrived at Huayuan County, Zhang Zhong's unsettled emotions surged again. He did not know who leaked the news, but the people of Huayuan County already knew that Zhang Zhong had returned. When the convoy arrived at Huayuan County after 5 days, they could no longer move forward. The road ahead was blocked by the people. They stood in the cold wind and did not say anything. They just looked at Zhang Zhong's convoy. Zhang Zhong lifted the curtain and looked. He felt a headache coming on. However, he had to go down and greet them. As soon as they saw Zhang Zhong, the people crowded around him and greeted him one by one. Some wanted to ask what Lu Zhou was like. Some were concerned about where Zhang Zhong would become an official next. They did not even care if they could offend the current provincial governor of Yao Province. They directly advised Zhang Zhong to think of a way to return to Yao Province and become the provincial governor of Yao Province. When the people who did not know the details saw this scene, they were puzzled. They did not understand why so many people were here. After asking around, they looked at Zhang Zhong with a respectful gaze. It was easy to become an official. However, it was not easy to return after leaving for more than a year and still receive the support of the people. Among the people in the cold wind, only those who were closest to Zhang Zhong spoke. The others were silent. Even the 7 or 8-year-old children were sensible enough not to make a sound. Zhang Zhong had no choice. He found his megaphone again and shouted at the people around him. He told them that he was doing well and that he was doing well at Lu Zhou's place. He told them not to worry. Then he asked the people to go home and celebrate the new year. He also wished them a happy new year. In fact, the people did not intend to do anything. They just wanted to see Zhang Zhong. When they saw that Zhang Zhong's family was fine, they were relieved. After all, it was cold outside. After they saw the 4 children who were suddenly carried back, they said some words of congratulations and dispersed. Zhang Zhong did not dare to leave, and he could not leave. He stood on the carriage and watched the people leave one by one. When all the people were gone, he climbed down and got into the carriage. He warmed his hands on the stove to prevent them from freezing. His hands and face were cold, but Zhang Zhong felt warm in his heart. Even he knew it was cold. How could the people not feel cold after waiting for so long? Husband, do you realize that being a good official is better than being a corrupt official? Justice is in the heart of the people. Jiang Wang Clan's eyes were red. Clearly she was touched. Even if the emperor came, it would not be possible for so many people to welcome him unless he sent an army. But her husband had just returned home, and there were people waiting for him spontaneously. If this was not a good official, what was? Zhang Zhong also felt a sense of achievement. He sighed and said, "When I am old, I will tell my grandson that in the past. Fortunately, it is this era. If it was in our era, if there was an official who was loved like this, that official would be finished. Love and respect should be given to the leaders." Zheng Xiaobao said happily. Why do I feel that you are always attacking the leaders? We are all serving the people. We are the servants of the people. Wang Wan had heard Zhang Xiaobao's complaints more than once. She felt that it was not good to be like this. Forget it. Don't you feel embarrassed saying this? I am not attacking anyone. I am just telling the truth. This era is good. Taking advantage of the good times to do more things for the people. It is not a waste to walk around the world again. I am going to take advantage of the new year to start providing free medical treatment to the people of Sanshui County and Yaozhou. As long as they are local people, they will not have to pay to see the doctor. This is called returning the favor. Zhang Xiaobao was just saying. It was impossible for him to discuss more with Wang Wan. After all, Wang Wan had such a person in her family. Wang Wan thought for a while and said, "In fact, it has nothing to do with the officials. It is a problem of human nature. The people who live at the bottom of society will be a big official one day. If he becomes a big official, won't he know the suffering of the people? Can he be a good official? Anyway, if you want to treat the people of a county or a state for free, where will the money come from? We don't care about the money, but the problem is not how much money we have, but why and how to use the money. Simple. We can use the money from gambling. We can't control the lottery, but we can control the gambling. We have to contact the local government, and the money we earn can be used for medical treatment. This is not strange. Many countries have free medical education. If others can do it, why can't we? It is not only in these two places. Luzhou will do the same in the future. Not only will the local people receive free medical treatment, but even the foreigners will also receive free medical treatment. The wool comes from the sheep. However, many people know that the wool comes from the sheep, but they insist on using the wool on themselves instead of the sheep. In the end, when the sheep dies, they have no wool to cut. Zhang Xiaobao did not care about money at all. He was very happy now. He was happy that he was born in this era. When he did good things, there was very little resistance. It was so small that there was no resistance. It was fine as long as he did not use his name to do good things. If he did not emphasize the donation to the court and insisted on mentioning his name, the court would accept the donation and use the money on the people. Very few people dared to be greedy for the money. It had nothing to do with the law. There was also something called morality. An official who violated the law was just following the rules. However, if his morality was exposed, the official could just commit suicide. You are still criticizing. Think about the current situation. Wang Wan could tell that Zhang Xiaobao seemed to be very dissatisfied with the people in the court. Why can't I talk about it? Now I just want to grow up quickly. When the time comes, I will be the Prime Minister and universal compulsory education in the country, starting from the age of 4 until the age of 20. After that, medical treatment will be free. Zhang Xiaobao told her his dream. He felt that he was very noble. Sometimes, greatness was a kind of belief that encouraged him to achieve his goal. Wang Wan looked at Zhang Xiaobao for a while and said, "Your goal is good, but everything depends on people to carry it out. Can you guarantee that no one will make any mistakes in the process of carrying it out? Also, what's the point of education for so long? It's enough to know how to read. After all, not everyone needs to learn a lot of things. Why not? If I had received a good education when I was young, maybe now I can. Maybe you wouldn't have come here with me now. Then I still want to carry on and make it universal. The main reason is that many things can be passed down. Also, your understanding is wrong. Knowledge does not have to be used immediately. It is accumulated in life. When you think that it is very normal to know how to read and write. Have you ever thought about the desire of people who don't know how to read? The simplest example is when a notice is posted. You know how to read, look up, and you leave because it has nothing to do with you. But what if you don't know how to read? You don't even know what the notice says. You have to ask someone else. When you use the simplest method to measure the distance, you may feel that it is very long. But do you know how many people want to measure the distance but don't know how to do it? The sky is blue because we have all learned that it is caused by the different wavelengths of light. But people in Tang don't know that. If they don't explore, they will live happily and ignorantly. But when someone really wants to explore, he will be very distressed because it involves too much basic knowledge. Ignorance is not terrible. What is terrible is that ignorance will cause you or others to lose their lives. At least we know the simple first aid method for carbon monoxide poisoning. You may not use it even once in your life, but when you really use it, it may save a life. Knowledge is the general knowledge summed up by predecessors. Have to persist. I must popularize education and add in various specialties to form a system. Zhang Xiaobao became a little crazy again. Wang Wan had already known about Zhang Xiaobao's illness. She nodded and said, I actually support you, but what if your education in the future offends people's thinking? I don't want you to become Bruno. Copernicus is very smart. This is simple. Do you know Buddhism? When they started from India, it was not as comprehensive as what we know later. Later generations added in bit by bit. To what extent? It means that no matter how you question it, they have a reasonable explanation. Then we can take a method to integrate the current thinking with the knowledge we want to teach. The ruling class doesn't care about right or wrong at all. They care about whether or not their interests can be protected. All religions serve the purpose of war, but some people just don't admit it. People who believe in religions are easy to understand. They have lost themselves and seek external help. People who don't believe in other religions because they believe in themselves. We can give the ruling class confidence, and that is, no matter how we teach, we will protect the ruling class in the end. This is a matter for the future. Do you think we will be treated well when we go back? Zhang Xiaobao finally stopped talking about this kind of philosophy and contradiction. When Wang Wan heard Zhang Xiaobao say that they will be treated well, she nodded happily. Suddenly she trembled a little and said, Xiaobao, let's cook what we like to eat. I think when we go back to Zhangjia Zhuangzi, we will eat roasted chicken and smoked chicken. They will definitely ask us to evaluate their cooking. I don't want to. Zhang Xiaobao also reacted. Indeed, if he was an ordinary farmer, he would also take out his best smoked chicken when he saw that the master was back. It was too scary, too scary. Zhang Xiaobao could imagine that as long as he tasted the roasted chicken or smoked chicken made by one family, he would also have to taste the other families. Yes, it was good to eat this kind of thing occasionally, but he couldn't eat it continuously. Zhang Xiaobao's face turned pale immediately. He really could not imagine the consequences of eating so many chickens in a row. Wang Wan's expression changed as well. She nudged Zhang Xiaobao and said, Xiaobao, you're the smartest. Think of a way. Oh yes, I'll think of one right away. Zhang Xiaobao agreed without hesitation. He frowned as though he was faced with a problem that was more difficult than fraud. When the group arrived at the main restaurant between the clouds and the water, the people from the Zhang family and Wang family who came to Luzhou finally relaxed. The other places were sealed by ice, but here they could still see the clear water flowing. There was a layer of mist on the water, completely shrouding the restaurants between the clouds and the water. This scene had nothing to do with the natural world. It was purely an illusion. First, they had people shaving ice, sprinkling salt on the water on time every day, and then roasting it on the water with a charcoal brazier. Therefore, the water did not freeze, and there was still mist. It was the new year. The 3 Zhuangzi members of the Zhang family and a Zhuangzi farmer from the Wang family came back to celebrate. It was the same last year. As soon as the group moved out, the farmers who had been waiting there surrounded them. They did not ask questions like the people in Huayuan County. Instead, they just greeted them and started to carry things from the carts. The 4 Zhuangzi farmers from the Zhang family and Wang family were not the only ones who came. Even the farmers from the Gu family were here. It had been a long time since they last saw the main members of the Zhang family and Wang family. They did not care much about the Gu family. They were more concerned about the Zhang family and Wang family. A few days ago, they heard that the farmer from the Zhang family, Zhang Qiu, was beaten up. His bones were broken, and there was a big cut on his leg. It was swollen to the size of his waist. When they heard that the people who beat Zhang Qiu were from a big family in the south, they were scared out of their wits. Later, they heard that Zhang Qiu was treated and the whole family who beat him ran away. It seemed that the masters of the Zhang family and Wang family were still the original masters. Just like what they said on the 15th, they would light up the starry sky together. Today they had to take a good look and see if the master of the Zhang family had gained weight or lost weight. Yes, he was not fat or thin, but he had become darker. The four little ancestors of the Zhang family and Wang family were also being carried by the young master and young lady. They were chubby and were strangely heavy. Zhang Xiaobao hugged his younger brother and sister. He stood beside the carriage and looked at his home. He had not been back for more than a year, but it felt like a century had passed. He did not know if the four little ones had telepathy or if they saw something fun at the same time, but they all giggled together. Xiao Bei kissed Zhang Xiaobao with her mouth that was still drooling. Zhang Xiaobao was kissed by his sister and could not wipe it away. He could only move his younger brother to his side. His face was full of saliva and his brother's clothes. Anyway, he had to wash them later. At this time, a farmer squeezed through the crowd and came over with a plate of roasted chicken in his hand. When he came over, a family member who had already been instructed immediately said, "In order to celebrate the arrival of the new year and to celebrate the new year with the farmers, the main family abstained from meat and fish until the 30th. The people in the inner courtyard will follow suit." Oh, there's even roasted chicken. It's a pity that it can't be eaten. Zhang Xiaobao thought of the plan that the people in the inner courtyard had just mentioned. If he did not have foresight, his family would be finished. Chapter 543. Walking on the familiar yet strange land, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan kept looking at the scenery around them. The canals had been frozen, and the small trees had grown taller. There were also green plants growing in the winter, covered with a thin layer of snow. The children of the past had also grown up. They were still wearing the same clothes, divided into two colors according to gender. They stood in the middle of the crowd, respectfully and curiously looking at the people of the Zhang family and Wang family. In the fields in the distance, there was still a passage made of straw. A flock of sparrows landed beside it, their small heads looking for dried rice among the straw. A few magpies on the branches with fallen leaves were probably alarmed by someone, standing there and calling from time to time. The wooden corridor had been carved with various patterns and painted with new paint. The stove that had once been used by the children to barbecue food was still standing there, burning with red charcoal. A pond was thought to have been heated with charcoal, so the water surface was not frozen. It was unknown which family's ducks were fearless. A dozen of them gathered together and swam on the surface of the water. Occasionally, they would stick their heads into the water to eat a few small fish. Then, they would be scared by a stray cat that jumped from the side and swam to the shore at the other end, running back home as if they were flying. They were not afraid of being frozen to death. The mountains in the distance were pure white, occasionally showing a bit of green. The sun, which had not much heat, was hanging in the sky, making the snow on the ground even brighter. Nothing seemed to have changed, but everything seemed to be different from before. Someone came to answer. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not care so much. After looking at the surrounding scenery, they directly ran back home, followed by the three big dogs. Oh, it's so comfortable to be home. After Zhang Xiaobao entered the door and threw himself on the Kong, feeling the warmth from the Kong, he said with a happy face. Wang Wan took off her thick outer clothes, sat on a chair with a thick cushion, and introduced various things to the three dogs with her fingers. She did not know if the dogs could understand. The return of the heads of the Zhang family and Wang family made Zhuangzi more lively than usual during the new year. The villagers all came back from outside to celebrate the new year, and their faces were brimming with joy. Between the clouds and the water was a little more deserted, but there were still some people who didn't want to go back for the new year. There were even some students in the academy who couldn't go back home. The four little ones from the Zhang and Wang families no longer went into their own room to play. They needed to solve the heating problem inside. One by one, they rolled around on the Kong bed. From time to time, they would use their small hands to scratch at the embroidered quilt. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't play with their younger brothers and sisters. The two of them asked the craftsman to make a doghouse. They were afraid that it would be cold if it was directly next to the ground, so they set it up 2 inches high. In the middle of the 3 layers of boards, there was also a piece of cloth stuffed with dry straw and a mattress. The doghouse was very big, just like a small house. 3 dogs were enough. Perhaps they came from a warm place and had not fully adapted to the cold in the north. As soon as the doghouse was finished, they crawled into it and curled up. Only the big dog stuck its head out and looked at the winter scenery curiously. Song Jinggong also came. Unfortunately, the 2 brothers who knew how to raise eagles and dogs were not here. They said that they were going to other places to look for better dogs and eagles, so Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan didn't have the chance to see them. Since the new year was coming, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan couldn't go out, so they walked around their house. At the same time, they went to visit the other 2 villagers on Zhuangzi and delivered the specialties they brought back from Luzhou to them. There were still many vegetables planted in the fields this year, so there was no need to sell them elsewhere. Apart from providing food for Zhuangzi, the rest were sent to between the clouds and the water. Because the method had been spread out, people in the cold places of Tang were planting vegetables out of season. The cost of getting the materials was low, but the price could not be so high. This is what it means to be well off, but it's still far from being well off. We have to continue working hard in the future. When Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao strolled along the river, they saw the clothes the people of Sanshui County wore, and their faces were filled with joy. However, they were still not satisfied. They wanted to improve the lives of the people of Sanshui County. The people were still wearing linen clothes, but they were much thicker than before. They were not as thin as before, and they shivered in the cold. However, this was not their goal. The 2 of them wanted to let the people wear cotton-padded clothes in the winter. They were more comfortable and warm than linen clothes. The people of Sanshui County did not know that there was something better, but they were already very satisfied. They had harvested more food this year than in previous years. Those who were idle at home raised chickens and pigs, and they were no longer against eating fish. It was almost the new year. Almost every family slaughtered pigs to make sausages, blood sausages, and powder sausages. They did not need to throw away the skin and bones. They sent them to the local workshop and could even exchange them for a sum of money. Although they wore linen clothes on the outside, they wore silk shirts on the inside. They also wore leather shoes on their feet. Usually they could eat meat whenever they wanted. There was no shortage of oil and salt. Who asked them to be in a traffic junction? They could always find something to do to earn money. While Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not very satisfied, the local people walking on the road were all jubilant. When they saw someone they knew, they would happily greet them. It would be good if there was a railway. It would be convenient to transport food from the south. Now, the people of Sanshui County are living better, but there are still no changes in the northwest. Those who should not be able to wear clothes are still unable to wear clothes. Those who should not be able to eat are also unable to solve the problem. When Zhang Xiaobao thought of the differences in the lives of the various regions, he still felt that it was not enough. Only when everyone did not have to worry about food would they be able to eat and wear. There will still be contradictions. In society, people are always compared with each other. There will always be a group of quick-witted people who use various means to improve their lives and social status. Some are in line with moral and legal standards, while others are not. But no matter which one it is, as long as you're not caught, your life will be better. After you have the original capital, you'll be able to widen the gap between you and others. Human desires are endless. Even if you let everyone eat their fill, the quality of the food will still be different with more money. Wang Wan thought of the contradictions in society. Wei sighed. I don't think about social contradictions. As long as it is where my father is, the people there must have a good life. Internal contradictions can be shifted through external national policies. Say, when everyone is literate and has mastered the basic knowledge, then will the imperial power be as stable as it is now? Zhang Xiaobao pulled Wang Wan towards a pavilion that was still guarded. Wang Wan was stunned for a moment. It shouldn't be. The more the people know, the harder it is to control them. Unless every generation of the emperor is so powerful. As long as there is a generation that is not good, then it will be over. Zhang Xiaobao did not say anything more. He looked curiously at the two people in the pavilion, a man and a woman. To be precise, they were an old man and an old woman. The house behind the pavilion was also different from the other pavilions. The other pavilions only had one room behind them, which was specially used for heating and rest. Unexpectedly, there were 3 rooms behind this one. From the traces, there was also a vegetable field next to it. There was still a small stove in the pavilion. Hot water was being boiled on top of the stove. Tea eggs were also being boiled at the same time to provide convenience for the pedestrians. However, there was also a place that sold pancakes. The old man and the old woman just sat there, not talking to each other. Their eyes were looking at the same place. If one stared at them carefully, they would feel like they had lost the sense of distance. Seemed like they were very far away but also very close. Why is it like this? It gives people a unique feeling when they look at the two of them. Wang Wan found it very interesting. Because this is a spiritual distance that has crossed over time. The old man and the old woman are a family. After going through so many things, their mentality is different. Sitting there, they seem to be quiet and distant. Another reason is that we have nothing to do, so we have the leisure to reminisce. Let's go, I'll treat you to some pancakes. Zhang Xiaobao quickened his footsteps. Wang Wan nodded and suddenly said, "Won't we be disturbing their peace if we go over? They are living together. Why would they care about your time? I don't know if the price of pancakes has increased. It used to be 2 copper coins for 1 pancake with vegetables. It should be more expensive in winter." Zhang Xiaobao had not eaten pancakes for a long time. He did not have time to make pancakes, so he added chopped green onions and sour sauce. "Grandma, how much is 1 pancake?" After so many years, Zhang Xiaobao already had the awareness of being a child and addressed them according to their biological age. 2 copper coins for 1 pancake. Oh, whose child is so good-looking? You two eat it, and I'll add a tea egg for free. The old woman turned her head and saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. She was moved by the two of them. Wang Wan looked at the things placed there and knew that there were vegetables. There were not as many varieties as there were in summer. There were only stir-fried shredded radish and bean sprouts. She sighed in her heart that the people here were simple and honest. They did not increase the price of things just because the local people had a better life and it was winter. She stretched out 2 fingers and said, "Grandma, I want 2 pancakes. Put 2 extra eggs for each one. 1 without dried coriander, and 1 with chopped green onions. The one with chopped green onions should be smeared with sauce." Wang Wan took out 6 copper coins from her small satchel and handed it over. She meant that she could not take the tea egg for free. "Yes, add 2 extra eggs for 1 copper coin. The local eggs are cheap. If you go to other places, 1 copper coin is not expensive. Which dish do you want to eat? Grandma will add more for you." The old woman said to Wang Wan with a kind smile. "Don't add any dish. Just eat the noodles and fruits. Don't fry them until they become brittle." "Grandma, why did you use bean sprouts? Bean sprouts are not cheap. Why don't you change them to pickled cabbage and stir-fry them with lard? Even if you charge 1 copper coin more, people will still buy them. They are very delicious." Wang Wan and Zhang Xiaobao could not eat the fruit pancake with vegetables. Once the vegetables were added, they would not be able to taste the original taste of the fruit pancake. The vegetables were added to fill the customers' stomachs, not the original taste. It would be better if there was some chili sauce mixed with chili. "Well, we'll make pickled cabbage next year. You don't have to pay more. We can earn more. The house has just been built this year, so we don't have time to pickle it." Seeing that the two of them did not want to add more dishes, the old woman put an extra youtiao into the pancake. She used a small spatula to make a long package and wrapped it with oil paper. Then she sent the warm package to the two of them. Chapter 544. Hearing the old lady's words, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan started to look at the house. Looking carefully, it was indeed built not long ago. It was mainly because of the snow on the roof, which made the new beams look not so new. Listening to the old lady's voice, they knew that she was not a local. She probably came to live in Sanshui County from somewhere else. The house was built behind the pavilion, and she planned to live here for a long time in the future. Grandma, it's not good to live in such a house. There's no land around for farming. The land behind the pavilion belongs to the Gu family, Zhuangzi. It's only about 10 mu, and we can still grow some food. Why don't we discuss with the Gu family next year and ask them to let some of the land, or even rent it, so that your son can farm? Wang Wan kindly reminded them. She didn't care if they built 2 more houses. They didn't occupy the road, and they couldn't let others tear them down, unless they provided a good house for them to live in. Zhang Xiaobao took a bite of the hot pancake and nodded at the side. Seeing that the 2 people didn't leave immediately, the old lady was willing to talk. She said with a smile, "The land in the Gu family is expensive, and we can't afford to rent it. Besides, there's only the 2 of us left in the family. Who can farm?" Only you and Grandpa left. Did you suffer a disaster?" Wang Wan swallowed the food in her mouth and asked softly. "No, we didn't suffer a disaster. We only have a daughter and she got married. My son-in-law is a scholar, and he passed the exam last year. He became an official and we came out." Sigh. The old lady's words made people hear something unusual. "Why are you talking about this? He's not a son-in-law who lives in the family. How can an official not have the prestige of an official?" The old man, who had been silent for a while, opened his mouth this time. "Why can't I say it? When he was young, his mother died early. In the past, who didn't send meat to his family? Where did the money for his education come from? His father, who only knows how to drink and play with money all day long, has ruined the family. How many times had he been caught stealing? We're just waiting for him to be successful and be able to bring our daughter to live a good life, have a few more children, and adopt a successor. But he's good." After entering the capital and passing the exam, he directly found a woman here and brought her back. He disdains us here and also disdains us there. If we still don't come out, I reckon he'll drive our daughter out as well. You're allowed to do it, but I'm not allowed to say it. Forget it, this is fate." The old lady refuted the old man. Suddenly, she realized that the people listening to her were 2 half-grown children. What was there to say to children? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finally understood. It turned out that when their son-in-law became an official, he didn't treat them well. It was probably because they didn't eat or drink well and often lost their temper with them. The 2 of them weren't soft-hearted people, so they came out to find something to do. The imperial examinations last year. Top scorer in the engineering department. Even with my father's status, he still has to send gifts to the Wang clan every year. Not only that, he still has to take care of my mother's feelings. How high is his rank? Zhang Xiaobao hated this kind of thing the most, so he said angrily. The old lady had long seen that the 2 children were not ordinary. They were not wearing silk clothes, but she still knew the workmanship of the clothes. In addition, the way the 2 children spoke was not something that ordinary children would have. So she asked, "Your father is also an official? Is he not good with your family? That son-in-law of mine is not a small official. He's just a county magistrate. It's no wonder that he found another person to come home. That person is very capable. Otherwise, how can a person who is in the middle of the Mingjing department immediately become a county magistrate? It's good enough that he can treat my daughter better. What kind of official is your father?" Sigh. This is really like suddenly seeing a willow tree. Repentant husband looking for a marquee title. "Xiaobao, my father and your father are the best." Wang Wan didn't know what to say and sighed. Then she said to the old lady, "Xiaobao's father is a small official. He can't stay idle all day and has to take care of everything. In the end, when there are benefits, he gives it to others. It would be good if he could be an official in the same place as your son-in-law. After all, he's a colleague and should give him some face. Good. It's good that you have such a heart. It's not easy to be an official under others. You have to look at others' faces. Even if you have some achievements, it's still someone else's. The old lady didn't think much and patted Wang Wan's head with a kind smile. Yes, it's really not easy. Every time you do something you have to think about how the higher-ups will react. There are many times when you don't dare to stand up and ask others to help you. Even when you do something good for the people, you have to use the name of the higher-ups. You are also ostracized by others and impeached for nothing. When you do something, there are countless pairs of eyes staring at you. All kinds of tricks are endless. There's no other way. Since you want to do something for the people, you have to hold on. Fortunately, there are many benefits for the higher-ups. The higher-ups help to suppress the impeachment reports. Only then can you go home in one piece. Wang Wan agreed. She complained mainly because she and Xiao Bao were exhausted. On one hand, they had to think of ways to make the people's lives better. On the other hand, they had to earn money from impossible situations. They also had to deal with all kinds of schemes at any time. Tactics, strategies, planning and organization were all done by the two of them. The old lady felt that the two children were very sensible. It seemed that the life at home wasn't so good. Even the children understood the hardships, let alone the adults. After thinking about it, she used eggs and noodles to make an egg pancake and stuffed it into Wang Wan's hands. No matter what, she didn't want money. It was a reward for the two children. Grandma, you have a good heart. Good people will be rewarded. And a new year is a new hope. Wang Wan took the egg pancake and said to the old lady before leaving with Zhang Xiaobao. The old lady looked at the two children's figures and nodded. She said to the old man, "They are really good children. I don't know which family is so lucky. Oh lady, give me one too. 2 eggs and no side dishes." At this time, a person seemed to suddenly appear. His eyes were looking at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's figures. He said to the old lady and took out 3 copper coins. When the old lady saw the person, she was shocked. She quickly spread the pancake and said, "So it's housekeeper Gu. How can this be? Quickly put the money away. When we were building the house, we took a few pieces of wood from you. You are so precious. You shouldn't eat pancakes. It's not precious. It's edible. People who are more precious can eat it. How can I dare to say that it's precious? Oh lady, your luck is here. I didn't give you an egg pancake for free. It's just that your son-in-law is going to be unlucky." Housekeeper Gu warmed his hands by the stove and said to the old lady. When the old lady heard this, she quickly cracked 2 more eggs. Housekeeper Gu wants to eat egg pancakes. That's right. Housekeeper Gu usually takes care of you. Of course your luck is here. But do you know my son-in-law? It has nothing to do with me. It's those 2 little ancestors. I guess your son-in-law will beg you to come home. It's okay to spread the egg pancakes. I will give you 2 more copper coins. Don't refuse. Otherwise, if the 2 little ancestors know, my Gu family will be unlucky. Housekeeper Gu knew the 2 little ancestors' characters better. Housekeeper Gu, you are joking. Who dares to touch the Gu family in Sanshui County? If there are really troublemakers, they won't even be able to enter the courtyard before being beaten out. The old lady didn't realize who Housekeeper Gu was talking about. Housekeeper Gu trembled. There are, but they won't be able to come here. If they really want to touch my family, with just one sentence, all the people in the county will rush over. What courtyard? Even the house will be destroyed. Didn't the 2 little ancestors tell you that good people will be rewarded? You just have to wait. Are you talking about the 2 little children? What can they do? The boy's father is just a small official. He has to take care of everything. It's hard work but not good. Sigh. It's not easy. Only now did the old lady know who Housekeeper Gu was talking about. She shook her head. With a poo sound, Steward Gu, who was eating an egg pancake, suddenly spat out the food in his mouth. One of the egg pancakes came out from his nose, which made him feel extremely uncomfortable. He blew his nose twice, then said with reddened eyes, "Small official? A fourth-rank provincial governor is a small official. Doesn't he have to take care of everything? He's in charge of all the affairs in the province, and he's even the military secretary. The military and government are one. Seems that you really don't know who they are. They're the little ancestors of the Zhang family and the Wang family in Zhuangzi. The boy's father was the top scorer in the imperial examination. Does my Gu family dare to offend them? Unless we're tired of living. You exchanged an egg pancake for such a big benefit. Isn't it a blessing?" The old lady finally understood. She opened her mouth, which had 4 missing teeth, and the hand that was wiping the pancake also trembled. She knew who the 2 little children were. They were the young master and young lady of the Zhang family, and the Wang family who had heard so much that calluses appeared in her ears. But she couldn't understand why such a rich family didn't wear silk clothes. Why did they come over to eat a pancake and call her grandma? No wonder they looked so likable. They were actually from the Zhang family and the Wang family. This was a true master. Even a child was so polite. The people from the top scorer school were indeed different. While the old lady was sighing, she suddenly thought of the complaint she said just now. Also, Butler Gu mentioned that her son-in-law was going to be unlucky. She began to feel anxious. Old man, quickly think of a way. The 2 little children might go back and tell their families. How can a county magistrate win against a provincial governor? What if his family wants to do something to our son-in-law? There's a big difference between a 7th rank and a 4th rank. The old lady said to the old man. The old man finally smiled. He nodded and shook his head. Don't worry. It's good to let him suffer a little, so that he won't harm our daughter. When the time comes, we'll talk to the 2 little children. A noble indeed. Talk? How? Wait for them to come back and buy pancakes. Otherwise, do you think that the 2 Zhuangzi Zhang family want to see other people's children? Who do you think you are? You want to see them. Didn't you hear? In Sanshui County, if the Zhang family stomps their feet, the entire county will tremble. Isn't that right, Butler Gu? The old lady knew about this. Yes. Don't mention trembling. The Zhang family said that they want to flatten the mountain in Little Luoshui. It won't take long for the mountain to be gone. My Gu family will be the first to provide people and money. But it's not hard to see the 2 little ancestors. They always come out and walk around. Butler Gu expressed his attitude. Chapter 545. The return of the Zhang family had stirred the hearts of many people. The officials and runners of Sanshui County's yamen were trying to find ways to visit, and so were the commoners. However, the new year was approaching, and the officials could not spare any time. They still had to deliver gifts to the poorest families in Sanshui County. The poor families were not locals of Sanshui County. They were people who had moved to Sanshui County from other places. When Zhang Zhong returned this time, in addition to bringing back the local specialties, he also brought back 3 ships worth of dried fish. Dried fish from the sea, the kind that was very big. As long as the people of Sanshui County had one, they would have no problem eating it for 3 to 5 days. However, on the surface, it was said that he was following the orders of the imperial court. In truth, everyone knew that the imperial court would not let Zhang Zhong bring fish back to the commoners. A sea fish was not expensive. Even though this place was a little far from the sea, one could buy a big sea fish with 100 copper coins. The commoners mainly felt Zhang Zhong's goodwill. Bringing anything back from Luzhou would be more profitable than bringing fish back. However, Zhang Zhong still packed the fish and delivered them to each family. The commoners knew what was going on, but they did not say it out loud. They were afraid of bringing trouble to the Zhang family and the Wang family. They knew that Sanshui County was the world of the Zhang family and the Wang family. If Zhang Zhong wanted to rebel, there would be no problem at all. Zhang Zhong also knew that his every move in Sanshui County was being watched. After all, Sanshui County was too important. It had a specialized craftsman academy, controlled a river, and increased grain production. Coupled with the annual tax income, it would be a lie to say that it was not tempting. The problem was that Sanshui County could not arrange its own people. To be an official in Sanshui County, one had to be approved by the commoners. The commoners did not know the new official yet. They had to do something good for the commoners first. Apart from this path, the other path was naturally Zhang Zhong's idea. Even if the commoners had already chosen their officials, Zhang Zhong could waive them with just a word. Otherwise, they would not be able to collect so much tax. Among them were people sent by Li Longji. Li Longji was also afraid. The Zhang family was too powerful. If they wanted to rebel, the people who were sent to quell the rebellion would have to fight in Yaozhou first. Only after winning could they enter Sanshui County and continue the fight. Fortunately, the Zhang family always knew when to advance and when to retreat. They would never do anything that they shouldn't do. Many secrets were written and sent to the higher-ups. Otherwise, they would have been dealt with long ago. As a matter of fact, as soon as the big fish was given out, a few officials from the imperial court used pigeons to spread the news, saying that they also wanted to try the taste of the sea fish and were prepared to pay for one. One of them was the person in charge of the imperial kitchen. After Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan read the letter, they understood that the people were not asking for the sea fish. They were expressing that they already knew about the Zhang family giving out the fish. It's not easy to give out something. Just give it to them. Since they want to eat it, they have no choice but to give it to them. Find a few sheep's hearts and put them in the fish's stomach. Remember to open the fish first and stuff them in through the mouth. Send them to the imperial kitchen and say that the combination of fish and sheep will taste better. Zhang Xiaobao was very familiar with this kind of thing. Since Li Longji had sent people to ask about the fish, he should give them an answer. Zhang Zhong did not understand the meaning of this and specially came over to ask. Xiaobao, are we just going to put the sheep's hearts into the fish's stomach? Can they still be eaten? Father, they won't eat it. They will just look at it. They know that the Zhang family and Wang family are loyal and will not make things difficult for us. Zhang Xiaobao explained to his father. Then why do we have to let the sheep's heart go? Isn't chicken heart better? Maybe the fish can be eaten. Zhang Zhong felt that this was also a kind of knowledge. Zhang Xiaobao shook his head. Chicken won't do. Sheep and fish together are not only fresh, but also nurturing. First of all, they are the people of Tang dynasty. If Li Longji is willing to play games, then play with him. Oh, it's the emperor. Zhang Zhong understood now. It turned out that giving things was also a kind of knowledge. It seemed that he had to learn more in the future and ask his son often. It was not ordinary. After knowing about the gift, Zhang Zhong asked again. Xiaobao, where do you think I should go next time? It's not good to enter the capital too early. Father, you don't have to worry about this matter. There are people who are more attentive than us. Li Sun will definitely think of a way. Prince Xining is also the same. Since you are free now, father, you should enjoy it for 2 more days. I reckon that the next place you go will be busy. It's either a very poor place or a very rich place. It's fine if it's poor. We will take out our own money to help the people and then we can earn a lot. I'm afraid that we will go to a rich place, such as Hunan. If you really want to go there, father, you should not go. You'd rather go back to the capital. The water there is too deep. I reckon that going back and forth will tire you to death. Zhang Xiaobao actually wanted his father to come to Yaozhou. It was very easy to manage here. With a government order, the people would obey. But this was absolutely impossible. Sanshui County was already worrying. How could they give more chances to the Zhang family? Zhang Zhong rubbed his son's head and left without saying a word. He felt a little uncomfortable. When encountering something, he could not make a better judgment and had to ask his son. He did not feel that his son was better than him. No matter how smart his son was, he was still a son. He knew how to be filial to his parents and know how to share the family's responsibilities. What made him uncomfortable was that he always made his son worry. His son was still young. Even if he was a deity, it was still tiring. He had to make his son and daughter-in-law busy with things that they should not worry about. If he could understand more, his son and daughter-in-law would be more relaxed. He must learn. In the future, he would let his son and daughter-in-law do less tiring work. Zhang Zhong walked back to his courtyard. On the way he thought about this. He also saw how powerful his son and daughter-in-law were. They were truly strategizing. In business calculations, people's livelihood, and now the 4 children were also involved. While his son and daughter-in-law were dealing, they could also find time to train the guards and learn knowledge every day. Oh right, there was also a diplomatic aspect. The 2 children were also in charge. Moreover, they had to come up with new things from time to make money and develop. All the burdens were placed on the children. Seeing that his father had left, Zhang Xiaobao took out a pen and paper and began to design something. This time the things to be made were simple. It was a sledge and ice skates. After the design was done, the physical objects had to be made and then sent to the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of War. Although it was simple, it was not small. It could be used to transport goods and also allow people to move quickly on the ice. According to the service target of technology, the first target was naturally the military. Therefore, he had to let the imperial court know about this matter first. After the imperial court had researched and understood it, he could consider whether to apply it to people's livelihood. Chapter 546. It was almost the 30th day of the year. Even the poorest people in the family would try their best to get some good things for the coming year. The farmers of Zhuangzi, Zhang family, and Wang family were the happiest. Their main family was back, and they could keep watch at night. The people of Sanshui County were also happy. Each family had a big fish. No matter how expensive it was given by the Zhang family and Wang family. The people of Luzhou were also happy. The new provincial governor did not make any trouble. He did everything according to the rules set by the previous provincial governor. He did not cross the line at all. The 30th day of the year could be said to be the busiest day of the year. Everyone was looking forward to the arrival of the new year. They were busy slaughtering pigs and chickens. However, not everyone was like that. The Ning family in Qin province was worried now. They had money for the new year, and they did not lack things. Moreover, they had made a lot of money recently. However, it was because of this money that they got into trouble. They did it on purpose. The Zhang family must have done it on purpose. They knew that we would follow them and make fake furniture and sell it to the rich and powerful. I want to impeach them. How could they set me up before they left? Ning Zhongzi did not have to do anything anymore. He was resting during the new year. He sat in his study. On the beautiful table there were posts of questions. The content of the posts was basically the same. They asked him where the goods came from and why they were fake furniture. How much did they cost when they bought the goods? Did they know that the goods were fake? The steward stood beside him. He had also read the posts. At this moment, he did not have the heart to think about who would be responsible. He only sighed inwardly at the Zhang family's methods. In the past, the Zhang family also sold furniture. However, they never went through Qin province. They would just send people to find ways to deliver it to the buyers. This time, before they left, they actually sent people to deliver a lot of furniture from Qin province by land. Of course, they had to stop them. The furniture was beautifully made, and the paint on it was very charming. There were also design drawings, and the function of each part was written out. There were also extra documents stamped with the seal of Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce. If it were anyone else, they would be tempted. There were so many documents, why not forge them according to the drawings? In the end, the Ning family agreed. They chased away the people who were escorting the Zhang family and left everything behind. They also found a craftsman to make furniture according to the blueprints. Some of them were given away as gifts while some were sold to the rich and powerful. Luzhou's Chamber of Commerce's name was still there. It could be said that he had made a lot of money. He even made a fake seal according to the seal on the document. Who would have thought that the Zhang family would release news before they arrived in Beijing, saying that there would be a lot of fake furniture? They also told people where the fake furniture was and asked people to pay attention when they bought it. This time, the mark appeared on the certificate document. Every document was different, and there was a special pattern in a very inconspicuous place. If the furniture was turned over or the drawer was pulled open, the same mark could be found on the document. However, there were no marks on the Zhang family's furniture and documents. Wasn't this a scam? This was bad, too bad. This batch of furniture didn't seem to be for sale at all. It was specially prepared for the Ning family. The people who bought it were angry. Not only did they spend a lot of money, but when their friends saw it, they would be ridiculed. They would be too ashamed to go out. The people who were given the furniture were even angrier than the people who bought it. How could a family that could be given furniture be a simple family? Using fake things, those who knew would think that they were cheated. Those who didn't know would think that they were reluctant to spend money to buy the real thing and bought fake things at a cheap price to show off. Even if they knew that they were cheated, it would still be embarrassing. This showed that such good things weren't something that the cheated people could understand. With their status, it wasn't suitable for them to use such furniture. They lacked a foundation. It was too close to the new year, so they couldn't find time to come here in person. They could only ask someone to send an invitation. After the new year, it would be hard to say what would happen. Seeing the master hit the fake table hard, the housekeeper hesitated and said, "Master, why don't we return the money to them and buy a few sets of real furniture and send them to the people who gave them the furniture for free last time? We can't buy them in our name. Otherwise we'll be cheated again." "It's too late. It's fine as long as we compensate the people who bought the furniture. But will the people who gave them the furniture still want it? Won't they buy the real thing themselves? Hey Zhang Zhong. I'm going to impeach him for manufacturing fake goods." Ning Zhongzi knew very well that this was a trap set by the Zhang family. He didn't blame his family's decision. If it were anyone else, they would fall into this trap. Although he said that he was going to impeach, he didn't have any intention of writing. The Zhang family didn't say that they were going to sell the furniture. They were just shipping it. When the time came, they could say that it wasn't good and that they wanted to destroy it or give it to the village. If he really reported this matter to the higher-ups, they would ask him why he blocked the goods and become a laughingstock. Besides, it wasn't up to him to impeach Zhang Zhong. It was up to the Ning family whether or not they wanted to impeach him. The Ning family was a family. Some of them were officials, while others were businessmen. If the Ning family was impeached for manufacturing fake goods and cheating people, it was very likely that he would be implicated as well. The housekeeper wasn't worried that he would be investigated. He lowered his head and looked at his feet until he felt that the master's anger had softened. He said, "Master, why don't we do this? If we continue to give them furniture, they might not want it anymore. Then we can give them some gifts. The Ning family has a lot of them. They won't be useful for the time being." "What do you mean they won't be useful?" "The hawksbill shell is useless, but the shell incense is a medicinal material. It's also a precious incense that is usually used. Not to mention that we haven't had any income for more than a year. We've been wasting money all this time. Now that the business outside is back, we still have to take things out. In less than 2 years, the Ning family will be finished." The more Ning Zhongzi thought about it, the more his heart ached. Money, it's all money. Which one of them doesn't need money? Otherwise, don't keep up appearances and stay away from the big families. Otherwise, we'll end up like them. Let's do as you say. Lu Zhou, didn't a new provincial governor come? Find someone to discuss it with him and ask if he can get us some gifts at a cheaper price. We haven't heard from Chao Harue and the other 2 families for a long time. Do you know where they went? Since they're no longer judges, it's time to ask them to return the money. Ning Zhongzi was 100% unwilling to give away the good things in his house. Suddenly, he thought of the 3 people who had written IOUs. They were no longer of any use. It was time to ask them to do something else. The housekeeper knew about this matter. He nodded and replied, Master, I heard that the three families and Lu Shaoqing's family have gone to the newly discovered island. They need to help with the local affairs. Should we send someone to catch them? It's only right to return the money owed. Zhang Zhong is a despicable person. Do you know that? Even now, he still doesn't want to let them go. Life on the island must be tough. It's New Year now. Let's not talk about this. Go and arrange the gifts. How are the preparations for the New Year's goods? Ning Zhongzi really could not find a way to deal with Zhang Zhong. He could only take advantage of Zhang Zhong with his words and categorize him as a despicable person. Don't worry, Master. I've already arranged the New Year's goods at home. I'll go right away. The housekeeper did not have time to care about this despicable person. He replied and left in a hurry. What was the point of contacting the new provincial governor? Lu Zhou was already an iron plate. No one could touch him. Zhang Xiaobao, who had tricked the Ning family once, had long thrown the matter of scheming to the back of his mind. He did not care if they were not on the same level as him. He and Wang Wan were accompanying Old Man Chong and Old Man Pai to go fishing. The two old men also knew how to find a place. It was the most beautiful pavilion between the clouds and the water. They first sprinkled a large amount of rice flour into it. This was called making a nest. Then they found the earthworms that the Zhang family specially raised. There was a stove next to it to boil water. There were tea bowls and melon seeds on the table. The two of them appeared to be very leisurely and did not care about anything. Old Man Chong did not care. He was alone, so he could go anywhere. However, Old Man Pai was wrong. He had a family. He did not care about himself. Instead, he told his family that they did not have to work and that they would go to Zhuangzi to eat and drink together on the 30th. What the hell was this? Xiao Bao, why do you think we haven't caught any fish yet? Don't we have a lot of fish in the lake? Old Man Pai waited for a quarter of an hour. When he saw that no fish had taken the bait, he retracted the hook and looked at the drowning earthworms that were about to die from the cold. He asked Zhang Xiaobao. How could Zhang Xiaobao not know the reason for his own family's fish? Nowadays, the fish did not eat the bait that was casually thrown outside. There was fish food specially prepared for tourists. A bag of fish food cost 5 copper coins. Usually they were not fed. If tourists wanted to see the fish, they would buy it and throw it into the lake. Moreover, the weather was cold now. The two old men were fishing in a shady place. The current was also relatively strong. If they wanted to catch fish, they would have to change the direction. Zhang Xiaobao knew. Just as he was about to say it, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. He should not have gone to the pavilion with Cuckoo to play today. The old man had something else to do. He was probably looking for an excuse. Just like last time when one fish was full, the other fish were still hungry. In the end, he had to think of a way to help the people of Sanshui County find something to do so that more fish could eat their fill. He glanced at Wang Wan, and Wang Wan turned her head away in a very disloyal manner, implying that she should be the one to bear the brunt. After thinking for a while, Zhang Xiaobao said, "Grandpa Bai, is it because it's too cold? The fish don't like to come out. Why don't you change to a place where the sun can shine?" Zhang Xiaobao felt that this answer did not seem to connect to anything else. If there was a connection, it would be the cotton clothes. He was already working hard to plant cotton flowers. He thought that Old Man Pai would not use this as a breakthrough. Unfortunately, Old Man Pai was not Ning Zhongzi. He was a third-rank official and had held many important positions. He was qualified to compete with Zhang Xiaobao, and he took the initiative to attack. As expected, Old Man Pai looked at Zhang Xiaobao with admiration. He understood that Zhang Xiaobao wanted to change the topic with a few words, but that was not possible. Xiaobao is right. Xiaobao, I find that you are getting smarter. When it's cold, the fish don't like to move. It's the same for people, right? Is that so? Zhang Xiaobao realized that things were a little out of his control. He continued, I'm very stupid. It's all thanks to Grandpa Bai and Grandpa Zhang's good teaching. Why not? When winter comes, the people in the north usually don't do anything, just like the fish. But fish don't know how to wear clothes, but people know how to wear more clothes. I think you know this, Xiao Bao. Old Man Pai continued. Chapter 547. Old Man Pai was not in a hurry at all. He sat there calmly and watched Zhang Xiaobao work. He took a sip of tea and pinched a melon seed. Wei Wei used some strength in his hand, and the melon seed opened. It looked very ordinary, but there was a lot of work involved. Because it was not a melon that specialized in making melon seeds, there were usually not many big ones in a single watermelon. After that, it had to be washed. After washing, it was cooked with different seasonings according to taste. After that, it would be dried in the sun. Then, it would be picked out based on color. After that, it would be soaked in water with other seasonings. After it was done, it would be brought over. Those that did not have any cracks were also left out. Anyway, it was just a hassle. Sounded very valuable. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan usually did not eat it. The two of them would eat the kind that was cooked for the first time. Sometimes they could even eat the bitter ones. For the two of them, that was real life. Not bad. After eating two, Old Man Pai was satisfied. But this kind of good stuff is not something that ordinary people can enjoy. Not to mention the melon seeds that are worth more than gold. Even normal days are not easy. There are people to feed the fish, but who cares about the ordinary people? Xiao Bao, didn't you say that the fish will not eat the bait when it is cold? Look at the food you made. Why do the fish rush over to eat it when you throw it in? That is because the ingredients are good. Different fish like to eat ingredients that are not moved. Zhang Xiaobao saw that Old Man Pai was not going to give up, so he could only follow suit. He wanted to see what Old Man Pai was going to do. Yes, for the fish the ingredients are different, but for the people it is different. Especially in the north, where there is a continuous grassland. When it snows heavily, the road cannot be walked. The cows and sheep also freeze to death. There is nothing to earn money, so they all stay in their tents and do not come out. If there is no north, where would we get so many cows and sheep? Xiao Bao, what do you think we should do? Old Man Pai finally understood what he meant. Zhang Xiaobao thought carefully, then pointed to the north and asked, Grandpa Bai, are you talking about Yinzhou? Further north. Fengzhou. Zhang Xiaobao asked again. That was Inner Mongolia and Mongolia. On the map, below that was Shaanxi, Gansu, and Ningxia, including his own place. Yeah, that's right. The people there have it tough, Old Man Pai said sadly. Zhang Xiaobao was stunned. Wang Wan was also puzzled. She asked, Grandpa Bai, you're not thinking of sending someone there to be the provincial governor, are you? That won't do. Ordinary people can't stay in that place. If they're not used to the climate, it's easy for them to get into trouble. Besides, there aren't many people there. Why bother with them? Wang Wan knew that there were many products there, but it was too far away. Furthermore, the current population of the Tang dynasty had not reached the point where they could squander as they wished. There were many things that could not be used now, such as rare earths. Otherwise, why would the desert be accompanied by desolation? She was really worried that Old Man Pai would send Zhang Zhong there to be an official on a whim. It was not that she was afraid, but it was mainly because he would not be able to achieve anything. There was no population. If he really wanted to go there, he might as well go to Xinjiang. At least he could get more wine. With the snow blocking the roads, there would be no contact for a long time. Old Man Pai narrowed his eyes and thought for a while. He looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan and said, The imperial court is rich now. They also have the cement to build the city. In addition, they found a piece of land in Shanghai that belongs to the Tang dynasty. It's not good to always be thinking about land. Don't tell me they want to go to war. After building up Fengzhou and making it rich, they will lure the Turks to attack them and then find an excuse to send troops over. Even if they conquer it now, they won't be able to occupy it. Isn't it good to have more money to build up the country? Oh, I know. Grandpa Bai, did you see the new weapons and feel that it is easy to deal with cavalry? Zhang Xiaobao was not stupid. He guessed what he meant. He was not afraid of war, but it was not cost-effective to fight now. The transportation was not convenient, and after the war, they would not be able to occupy it. Moreover, there were other ethnic groups and countries on the Turk side. The two continents were connected. If they fought because they were close to each other, they could fight all the way to the Mediterranean Sea. North America was only separated by a sea, so they could easily cross it. But would that work? It's not a war. It snowed heavily this year. Everyone was busy during the new year, so they did not feel it. In fact, there is a shortage of cattle and sheep. I think it is the same for the Turks. Every time it is at this time, they will come to steal things. The scale is not large, so they have not done much. Moreover, it is not easy for the Turks to find the people of Fengzhou. Everyone is running around. War is a means. It is enough as long as we know how to achieve the goal. If we can cross over, we can use food to exchange for some cattle and sheep to slow down the situation in the capital. Force is only a guarantee. There was no way in the past, but now, Old Man Pai explained. He did not finish his words, but Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan knew what he meant. He meant that the Zhang family had 2 experts in charge, and they had already made a lot of good things. They were not lacking in this. The next place my father will go must be decided before the spring plowing, and he will go to the same place as Li soon. Zhang Xiaobao began to talk about the conditions. You have to think about this carefully. This has already happened 3 times. The top scorer of the imperial examination, the county magistrate of Huayuan County, and the provincial governor of Luzhou. I have been an official since I was 20 years old, and until now, I have never met anyone who is in a situation like yours. You go wherever you want to be an official. The Ministry of Personnel is just a decoration to your family. The 3 provinces and 6 ministries are now revolving around your family. All the impeachment memorials have been suppressed, and all the issues raised by your family have to be discussed together. Many people are not satisfied. If it wasn't for the business relationship, and if it wasn't for the fact that your family is always giving away benefits, then the consequences. There are no ifs. If there is a relationship, then there is a relationship. You take your time to think about it, Grandpa Bai. My family is not in a hurry. Zhang Xiaobao was not afraid of being scared at all. As long as his family did not rebel, they would not have any excuse to deal with them. After Zhang Xiaobao finished speaking, he really did let Old Man Pai and Old Man Chong think about it. He and Wang Wan went home to get the blueprint of the snow sled. They had just designed it and they were going to use it. One was for a single person and the other was for a snow plow. Old Man Pai thought that Zhang Xiaobao had gone home to ask the expert, so he was not in a hurry. He changed his direction and threw the pole in to continue fishing. Half an hour later, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan returned. Xiaobao Cuckoo, I thought about it just now. This is a little difficult, but it's not impossible. Old Man Pai was finally convinced. If the Zhang family had a way, then the imperial court would have to agree. Zhang Xiaobao took the blueprint out of his pocket and unfolded it for Old Man Pai and Old Man Chong to see. That's it. There's a kind of deer in the north that can pull this cart and run quickly on the snow. You can tell from the ink. This map isn't new today, and it's not used to transport goods. It's used to transport troops at key places in the future when there's a war. The structure is simple and people can understand it when they see it. They can learn it immediately. It's not my family's business whether it's used in the north or the northeast. If the wind is good, we can use sails to increase the speed. It's wide under the snow and narrow under the ice. Old Man Pai did not know what to say. The Zhang family had such a good thing for a long time, but they were unwilling to take it out. Just like what he told Old Man Chong in Luzhou, the Zhang family would only make something new when it was needed. Old Man Chong sighed in his heart. The Zhang family was like 100 treasures pouch. There were many good things in it, and it was up to you to take them out. Old Man Pai held the paper in his hand and hesitated. Just like what Zhang Xiaobao said, When this thing was not made, people would not be able to think of it. However, when they saw it, they could make it immediately. Should they use it to transport goods, or should they keep it to transport soldiers at key times? They had to make a choice. It was a dilemma. Xiao Bao, is there any other way? When the time comes, we can choose one to transport the goods. When Old Man Bai asked this question, even he felt embarrassed. His old face turned red. He had really made things difficult for others. At this moment, Wang Wan pouted and took out another piece of paper. She stuffed it into Old Man Pai's hand. It's just a place to become an official, and you need so many things in exchange. The sleigh is good, but it's a big target. You also need to take care of the deer. This is for a single person. As long as you wear white clothes and a white hat in the snow, you won't be easily discovered. You don't have to worry about falling in the snow that's a few feet deep. There's also this thing that fits on the skis. Has barbs. Even if you go uphill, you'll be faster than a normal person. It's suitable for small groups of guerrilla warfare and delaying battles. Use a crossbow, choose the right terrain, attack quickly, attack from a distance, and run after attacking. If you add in our fireworks, it's very effective against other people's logistics. The more Wang Wan spoke, the more fluent she became. Zhang Xiaobao felt like he was listening to an advertisement. Old Man Pai and Old Man Chong didn't think so, especially Old Man Chong. He could draw a picture in his heart according to what Wang Wan said. He knew how effective this thing would be in a place with thick snow. Especially when used together with a hot wine made by the Zhang family. It would really appear and disappear like a ghost. If he was given 1,000 people who were familiar with using it, he would dare to fight against an army of 100,000. As long as he had enough bows and arrows and understood the terrain, even if he couldn't fight them head-on, he would drag them to death. Old Man Pai slapped his thigh. Good stuff. Then this thing called a sleigh can be used to transport goods. With his words, it meant that the next time Zhang Zhong became a local official, he would still be able to choose for himself. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan sighed in relief at the same time. The two of them actually still had some good stuff that they didn't take out, and that was their eyes. They were specifically used to deal with snow blindness. If they fought in the snow for a long time, they couldn't do without snow glasses. Especially when they encountered people who were also wearing white, their eyes could be blinded. Since Old Man Pai had agreed, there was no need to take them out. They would wait until they needed them in the future. If they took them out all at once, it wouldn't show how precious they were. Besides, the snow glasses also needed glass, so they were hoping to sell them for more money. There's no time to lose. I'll immediately write a letter to ask the people from the Ministry of War and the Ministry of Works to come over. Do you have any good stuff? Take them out together. The sooner we use them, the sooner we can benefit the people. Chapter 548. Old Man Pai was a man of his word. He didn't care that it was the 28th of the 12th lunar month. He stopped fishing and ran back to the capital to write a letter. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan immediately made ice carts and steel ice skates. They planned to play on the pond after the 30th day. It was also a kind of entertainment tool for the villagers. When the 30th day arrived, the 3 Zhuangzi of the Zhang family, the 1 Zhuangzi of the Wang family, and the villagers of Gujia village and Li Sun's Zhuangzi gathered together again. Everyone was here. The only regret was that Li Sun had to return to the capital for the spring festival. He missed his family after not seeing them for more than a year. The 30th day of Zhangjia Zhuangzi was very lively. The sound of New Year's greetings rang out continuously. The fireworks continued for an hour. Dumplings with various fillings were eaten freely. Just like the New Year's celebration in Huayuan County, the houses were built with wooden boards. The 4 doors were all connected. People could go wherever they wanted. The adults were happy. They believed that there would be better days in the new year. However, the children were the happiest. They wore new clothes. No matter where they went, the lights were bright and they didn't feel cold. Even the people of the academy and between the clouds and the water who didn't go home were invited to watch the performance on the stage. Nearly 10,000 people stayed outside. Even Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's younger brother and sister didn't sleep. They waved their little hands excitedly and made incomprehensible sounds. They drank half a bowl of dumpling soup and didn't even drink milk. Their small house was occupied by the children of Zhuangzi who were younger than 2 years old. They climbed up and down as if they would never feel tired. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan spent a lot of money on this night. They spent more than 20,000 strings of coins on gifts, food, drinks and houses. They didn't care. It was lively. There was a sense of security with more people. This is the real New Year. Xiaobao, how much did we spend? Wang Wan drank some wine and leaned against the wall. She asked Zhang Xiaobao, who was using the stove to roast prawns. That's a lot. Just the cost alone is 40,000 strings of coins. His Highness sent fireworks to the aristocratic families around the capital. Li Sun also took a lot of small abalones from us. He didn't give us a single copper coin. Those are abalones, not grass carps. He must be showing off to others with our money. Zhang Xiaobao also drank a lot of wine. He also gave Gu Yingxi a set of beautiful glass wine set. As long as a woman was from the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family, she would be given a mirror. It was not big, 1 foot wide and 2 feet long. The farmers did not decline and accepted the gifts given by the master. At most, they would risk their lives if the master needed them in the future. Nowadays, the villagers could no longer be bought over with money. Ever since the villager who went to Haiyin County came back injured, the Zhang family's series of actions made the villager want to protect the main family with all their hearts. They all prepared to wait until the new year and expand their business to further places. With the master behind them, they were not afraid of anything. Now, no family or official was willing to provoke the farmers of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family. Bullying the farmers would not give them any benefits. If they really did make a move, they would have to wait for the revenge of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family. Take the Ning family for example. They were such a big family and had hundreds of businesses outside. What was the result? When faced with the overwhelming attack of the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family, didn't they still shrink back? If they really wanted to deal with the Zhang family, then they would have to start with the main family. After all, revenge was the same. At first, they sent a letter to protest against Haiyin County with pigeons. Many officials thought that it was just empty talk, but they didn't expect that 5 days later, the Shuiyun Club's commercial attack would arrive. 7 days later, all the people who participated in the attack would have their legs broken by the guards of the Shuiyun Club. Fast, it was too fast, so fast that it made people scared. It only took 7 days to travel from Sanshui County to Haiyin County. If Haiyin County was occupied by other countries, the imperial court would not be able to arrive in such a short time even if they sent troops from Sanshui County. However, the guards between the clouds and the water were that fast. First, they used small boats with propellers to sail to the capital. There were already big boats in the capital. They directly changed boats and rushed to Haiyin County in one breath. Before the county yamen could react, they caught people according to the information of the shops and beat them up. The night of the 30th passed in a unique atmosphere. The farmers continued to prepare for the activities on the 15th. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan also began to busy themselves. They were busy making lanterns, not for selling them. Since the first time the farmers in Zhuangzi started to make lanterns, even if the master was no longer there, the grocery store would still give them to them for free. It was a large lantern, the kind that could carry people when it flew. It was made of silk cloth, and the outside was smeared with gum to make the cloth airtight. An oil basin was hung below and tied with a rope. It was a large Kongming lantern, or rather a hot air balloon. On the 15th of the first lunar month, of course there would be lanterns. Not only Sanshui County, but also Chang'an. No one stipulated that lanterns must be held by hand. A flying lantern was also a lantern. It was just that there were words on it. It wrote Sanshui County's smoked chicken, and a picture of a smoked chicken. It flew on Zhuke Street in Chang'an, illuminating people for free. Good people. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were good people. Xiaobao, what do you think Li Longji's reaction will be if he sees such a big advertisement lantern? Are you really going to make it? Wang Wan felt that Zhang Xiaobao's idea was too crazy. While everyone was celebrating, he was advertising. Li Longji was holding a telescope and celebrating with the people. The moment he looked up and saw the house and the smoked chicken, would he pay for two to try? Can't you make a few more lanterns and hang the ones like "Peace Throughout the World," where he can see it, and hang the ones with advertisements further away? Make 15 lanterns. Except for the direction of the palace, you can only make 5 lanterns in the other 3 directions. You can write good words on the first 2 and draw chicken on the last 3. Zhang Xiaobao only dared to do this because he had sent the sleigh and skis. He thought that Li Longji would not overreact. Wang Wan saw that Zhang Xiaobao was insistent and really did get someone to make 20 lanterns. 15 for her own use, and the other 5 to be sent to the palace for the people to play with. As for whether or not people would tie themselves up and float in the air out of curiosity, and whether or not the brazier under the lanterns could cause a fire, that was none of her concern. Before the 15 lanterns arrived, people from the Ministry of Works and the Ministry of War had found the lantern between the clouds and the water first. Old Man Pai had already asked someone to make the lantern. Any assistant minister from the Ministry of War was actually not a small rank. Lu Jiro from the Ministry of Works personally came to inspect the lantern. He felt that the Ministry of Works was embarrassing with the Zhang family around. Every time he made something, he would learn from the Zhang family. When he saw the snow sleigh, he realized that it had a very simple structure. If anyone from the Ministry of Works came over, they would be able to copy it and the workmanship would be even more detailed. However, no one had thought of such a simple thing. The snow here was not thick enough, so Lu Jiro asked someone to pull it on the ice and approved of the sleigh's function. Old Minister, although the sleigh is good, it is not very convenient to use. It must be used in places with thick snow. If we go north from here, we have to use other carriages to pull it. When the time comes, we have to change to the sleigh. It is very troublesome. Lu Jiro, who was not convinced and always wanted to follow the Zhang family, tried hard to find the problem. She was afraid that what she said just now was not convincing enough, so she added, for example, when transporting ceramics and other utensils, they have to be arranged again by familiar people. When they change to the sleigh, they have to be arranged again. Don't tell me that we have to let familiar people follow the carriage. This is a problem. Xiaobao, what do you think? Old Man Pai asked Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to come over today. Lu Jiro also helped. What kind of person was Zhang Xiaobao? As soon as he heard Lu Jiro's words, he could guess what she was thinking. This was jealousy, naked jealousy, and it was not disguised at all. Grandpa Bai, I thought it was something big. It is just a restriction on the transportation road. It is very simple. You can make the sleigh as big as the carriage and put a rack on it. When there is no snow, you can take the sleigh apart and put it on the carriage. When there is snow, you can put the sleigh under the carriage and use the rack to support it. The horse can be replaced with a deer, and you can pull it up and run. Grandpa Bai, things are dead but people are alive. You have to learn and use it flexibly. Capable people think of principles, but incapable people put their hopes on others. When they encounter difficulties, they don't know how to think of a solution themselves. If they can't do it, then they are derelict in their duties. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he should teach the people in the Ministry of Works. If he did not think of a solution himself, he could not rely on restricting others to improve himself. It was not good for the country and the people. Wang Wan also added, Grandpa Bai, Xiaobao is right. Migratory birds move far away and fly towards the moon. When the sky is cloudy, those who fly high and cross the clouds to find the moon are strong. Those who fly low only know that the moon is bright, but do not know that the moon is everlasting. Those who look for the light under the clouds and lose their lives in the fire are weak. Old Man Pai understood, and so did Lu Jiro. Wang Wan was saying that migratory birds flew according to the sun and the moon, especially at night. The powerful birds directly flew into the clouds, and the weak birds only thought that where there was light was the moon. Even if there was a fire, they would stupidly fly up. Such birds could not compare to those that flew high. It was because he knew that Lu Jiro was depressed. If it was an adult, he could also find a way to vent. But these two children, each of them said a few words and trampled the Ministry of Works to the ground. Shameful, it was really too shameful. The two children could not have known that he would say this when they came over. Since they could say it, it could only be because the two children were smart. Lord Lu, the children are not sensible and speak the truth. Don't take it to heart. The problem of changing carriages is solved. Make a frame and let Lord Lu see if there is anything that you can't think of. Since the two children are here, let them help think. Treat it as compensation for speaking the truth just now. Old Man Pai was very happy. He finally saw Lu Jiro suffer. At this time, how could he not add insult to injury? The people in the Ministry of Works were indeed too lazy. If he mocked Lu Jiro, he would go back and supervise him more. Lu Jiro could not be angry with the two children. Besides, they were not wrong. He could only glare at the workers next to him. A younger worker who was glared at was not convinced and said, "Then what if there is suddenly a hole in the snow in front of us?" This time, there was no need for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan to speak. Lu Jiro said, "What if you suddenly trip while walking? Are you not going to walk in the future?" Chapter 549. Through the exchange of benefits, Zhang Zhong's appointment was settled. Zhang Xiaobao was very satisfied with this arrangement. He would only feel at ease when he used the things he got at a price. It was worth it to buy the right to choose the local official position freely with the sleigh and the skis. This was not a simple local official. It represented a kind of strength. How many people in the Tang Empire could choose their own official position? In addition to this, there was also the matter caused by LV Yenzhua, who had always been petty and wanted to make trouble for Zhang Zhong. Ever since he was taught a lesson by Zhang Zhong in Huayuan County, he had not given up. The last time he sent Zhang Zhong to Lu Zhou, he found out later that he was fooled. Lu Zhou was going to Ling Nan anyway. Without his help, Zhang Zhong would have to pay more if he went there first. Zhang Xiaobao could understand LV Yenzhua's thoughts. It was not that he was a bad person. If he was really bad, he would have impeached his father when he was in Lu Zhou. He just wanted to see his father suffer. That way he would feel better. In terms of ability, Zhang Xiaobao had to admit that LV Yenzhua was indeed extraordinary. He was just an assistant minister of the Ministry of Works, not the Ministry of Rights. How could he persuade the imperial court to reward the Zhang family with decorations on the streets during the Lantern Festival? Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know what to say when they heard the news. There were still 11 days before the 15th. They were in Sanshui County now. It would take them 4 days to get there, and they had to ride fast horses. Time was a little tight. Xiaobao, Cuckoo, you should take the money. Spend money to avoid disasters. This is the imperial court's test for your family. Assistant Minister LV is not bad. If he sent the edict a few days later, there would be no time. In the pavilion, Old Man Pai was persuading Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, who had just found out about the news. He clearly knew that it was difficult for them, but in his heart, he was very supportive of LV Yenzhua. He wanted to see how powerful the Zhang family was, and whether they had really reached a point where they could defy the heavens. 11 days, only 11 days, was an impossible task for anyone. However, when it came to the Zhang family, perhaps it would be different. The Zhang family was really too unpredictable. Old Man Chong had the same thought as well. He knew that the Zhang family had started doing things 8 years ago. Any one of them was beyond the imagination of ordinary people. However, they had done everything. Even when Lu Zhou was facing a disaster, they never gave up. When the two masters of the Zhang family were in trouble, It was as if they had turned into mountains and seas. They were so steady and profound that no one could see any flaws. 11 days was just the right time to test it out. Xiao Bao, what should we do? 11 days is too short. Isn't this a trap? Wang Wan was also in a state of mental impasse. Zhang Xiaobao looked at the fog between the clouds and the water lake that was thought to be caused by a charcoal brazier. He stood up and pulled Wang Wan back. At the same time, he turned to Old Man Pai and said, "Grandpa Bai, if you see Assistant Minister LV, tell him that the Zhang family and Wang family are grateful to him for giving us such an opportunity. Thank you. Don't tell me the Zhang family still has a trump card." Old Man Chong, who was chasing after Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan, did not believe that the Zhang family could still be respected in such a situation. Old Man Pai was also not sure. He really could not find out the bottom line of the Zhang family. For example, the two things that were exchanged for the officials this time, the Zhang family had designed them first. They did not even lack a backup plan. No one could underestimate anyone but the Zhang family. I heard that the two masters of the Zhang family are good at strategizing and can see through the situation first. Maybe they can do it this time too. Old Man Pai said with uncertainty. Zhang Xiaobao walked at a moderate pace, as if he was strolling. When he entered the courtyard, he immediately began to issue orders. It was 11 days. It was too late to send people from Sanshui County, so they could only find people in Beijing to work. After the order was issued, Zhang Xiaobao said to Wang Wan, "This is a good opportunity. You know, in the past, it was not easy to pay for large-scale activities. This time it's good. We only need to spend the money for decorations. We don't need to give money to others. If it were me, others who wanted to participate would not only have to pay for all the decorations, but also have to pay extra money to buy this opportunity." Wang Wan knew what Zhang Xiaobao was referring to. For example, in the Olympic Games, if you wanted to participate in a certain part of the construction, not only would the construction money not be given to you, but you also had to compete and spend money to get this opportunity. However, she did not expect that Zhang Xiaobao would be able to solve this difficult problem for others so easily. Is your brain filled with this kind of stuff? I wonder what kind of expression LV Yenzhua will have when he finds out about your method. Wang Wan knew from Zhang Xiaobao's order that as long as they were willing to spend money, 11 days would be enough. The assistant minister could not compare to the minister. He did not have enough brains. He was not at the same level as Old Man Pai. Could it be that he did not understand that, after reaching a certain level, it would be bad to scheme against others without paying for anything? At a certain level, no one would want to make someone of the same level suffer while they were unharmed. That was simply impossible. Most of the time, benefits were balanced through compromise and exchange. There was no need for people to go in person. The speed of the message was faster. The order was directly sent to the shop in Beijing by carrier pigeon. While everyone was curious, the 15th day of the first lunar month finally arrived. The night of the 14th day of the first lunar month passed. When they woke up early in the morning, the people in Beijing found that there was an ice sculpture placed on the street every 10 steps. Under the sunlight, which did not make people feel much warmth, they appeared even more sparkling and translucent. On the three roads where Zhuke Street and Tianmen Street intersected, nearly 1,000 people were busy. LV Yenzhua did not return to Beijing. He stayed at Between the Clouds and the Water. In order to find out about the situation in Beijing, he specifically looked for Old Man Chong. He knew that Old Man Chong had carrier pigeons and would definitely receive information about the situation in Beijing. When the sky was almost dark, the people who were concerned about how the 15th day of the first lunar month in Beijing received the news that it was an ice sculpture. As for what else there was, it was not clear. When it was time to light up the lanterns everywhere were lit. Zhangjia Zhuangzi's 15th day was the same as before. Everyone spent it together. Old Man Pai and Old Man Chong were like New Year's, joining in the bustle. When the group of people had just crossed the small bridge, the very mysterious thing that was covered by the white cloth last night was revealed. During the day, they were still wondering what it was. With the help of the lanterns, the group of people finally saw the thing under the white cloth. It was actually an ice sculpture. As long as one was not stupid, they would be able to guess that it should be the same in Beijing. As someone shouted, "Light up!" the ice sculptures lit up one by one. The light came from the middle of the ice, making the already beautiful ice sculptures even more enchanting at this moment. Under the contrast of each other, it gave people a dreamy feeling. People who had never seen the ice lanterns would never know what kind of scenery it was. It gave people the feeling that this was not the human world. The largest piece of ice in front of the Wang family's zhuangzi was actually 3 zhang tall. Not only were there candles lit inside, there were also words engraved and painted with gold powder. There were 4 rows of words that could be clearly seen without looking closely. A world of ice and snow blurrily illuminates the years, proudly standing in the cold wind, its own sparkling color. At the bottom, there were 3 small pink words, between the clouds and the water. Good, good, between the clouds and the water. I know what the scenery in Beijing will be like this year. It really lives up to the name, between the clouds and the water. The 4 seasons change, but between the clouds and the water will always be blurred and dreamy. Oh, I almost forgot. Assistant Minister Liu, the Zhang family's Xiao Bao, also asked this old man to express his gratitude for giving his family a chance. Thank you, thank you. Old man Pai understood everything now. The Zhang family should have people make the same thing in Beijing. It was just a matter of spending a lot of money to find craftsmen. The Zhang family did not lack money. This time, it would definitely shock everyone in Beijing, including the emperor. According to the book Nature, the carved ice was not only beautiful because of the candles inside, but also because of the refraction and reflection, causing the night to become fluorescent. When the 10 large Kongming lanterns slowly rose, setting off the corridor and the canals below, everyone except for Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were dumbfounded. They didn't even know where to look. Lu Yenzhua's feelings were very complicated. In reality, he didn't expect to do anything to Zhang Zhong. He just wanted to make trouble for Zhang Zhong and treat it as a game. But he never would have thought that the plan he had worked so hard to come up with would be so easily neutralized by the Zhang family. Moreover, it would be even better because of this. It seemed that all difficulties in front of the Zhang family were opportunities. Just like official Lu said, the Zhang family would become stronger when faced with a strong opponent. If you want to help the Zhang family, then do your best to scheme. At this time, Zhang Xiaobao pulled Wang Wan and jumped over like a child. Grandpa Bai, Grandpa Zhang, isn't it beautiful? It's a pity that there's not enough time. Otherwise, I could have made an ice lantern that can move. Wang Wan raised her head and said to Old Man Pai and Old Man Chong, "It's beautiful, but the time it can stay is too short. In the end, it will melt away." Lu Jiro, who also found an excuse to stay, said first, "Because it's short, it's beautiful. Because it's nostalgic, it's eternal. Instead of feeling sentimental about things that will eventually pass away, it's better to cherish the things around you." Wang Wan wanted to argue with Lu Jiro, who told Lu Jiro to always stare at the things that Zhang Xiaobao made. Lu Jiro couldn't argue with a little girl, so she was choked and couldn't say anything. Old Man Pai rubbed Wang Wan's head side and said, "Good, in the future, there will finally be something pleasing to the eyes in the winter. Tell Grandpa, is there an advertisement for this thing called the ice lantern in the capital?" "No, it's just engraved in the place where it was made. It's very small. It's engraved below the 3 words between the clouds and the water. Otherwise, if something were to happen, who would blame them?" Wang Wan replied with a serious face. "Right, this isn't an advertisement. You have to praise it. In the future, as long as other people do the same, whether it's the person who made it or the person who saw it, the first thing they would think of would be the responsible between the clouds and the water, right?" When Old Man Pai heard Wang Wan say that the 3 words between the clouds and the water were engraved below the ice lantern, he could imagine how famous between the clouds and the water would be in the future, even in the south. After all, ice could be placed in an ice house. As long as one had money, they could make ice lanterns. Chapter 550. The ice lanterns were not popular among the people heading north, but the people in the capital. The people in the capital who liked to use ice lanterns were not high-ranking officials or aristocratic families, but businessmen. After the 15th day of the lunar month, people immediately followed suit. Low-ranking craftsmen could carve beautiful ice lanterns with a little money. The empty space in the middle was bigger, or the bottom was higher than the ground, so they did not have to worry about candles going out. In the worst case, they could dig a hole in the ice where it would not be easily discovered. Businessmen used ice lanterns as advertising signboards, especially in the busiest night markets in the eastern and western markets. Every shop would have an ice lantern in front of it, even if the weather was gradually warming up. After the 15th day of the lunar month, Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan finally found out where Li Sun was going. He was in theft as the Prince of Tang and County and was in Huainan County. Normally, a thief like Li Sun would not allow him to go there. The thief would only collect a portion of the local tax. It was more of a title. However, due to various reasons, Li Sun was really sent there. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not know if the two of them had changed history, or if the history they had arrived at was as such. In any case, Bai Go, who was supposed to be dead, was still alive, and Li Sun, who had also died early, was still growing up healthily. The two of them were now studying Tang and County. They did not know where it was. First, they thought it was in Shuzhou. The name was too confusing, so they kept changing it. Later, they felt that it was wrong. Fortunately, the two of them had a map sent by the local government. It was very detailed. For the sake of playing the game, it was a military map and business blueprint. Other than the palace, the other detailed map of the entire country was in the hands of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The two of them needed to gather and distribute the benefits. Lake Tai, I see Lake Tai. That means it is not far from the sea. It belongs to Jiangsu, right? No, it is not a lake, it is a place. Where is it? Wang Wan found the two words Lake Tai from the index. After a moment of joy, she realized that it was wrong. It belongs to Anhui province. Go up the river and down the river, it is Jiangsu. It is a little different from what we expected. How big is Li Sun? Was Tang and County a county or a province? You can call it a province, but it's a little smaller than a normal province. You can call it a county, but it's a little bigger than a normal county. Zhang Xiaobao rested his chin on his hand as he fretted. He hoped to be closer to the sea so that transportation would be more convenient. He didn't have to make money through logistics. The main thing was that he could sell the local specialties and buy the useful goods back. Come, look at the map. I found the specific location. It's next to the Yangtze River. It's easy to transport. Oh, will there be frequent floods? Wang Wan's hand tapped on the map, where a river was clearly drawn. Zhang Xiaobao gestured on the map. This doesn't look like the terrain of a flood. Why not? If the Yangtze River kept going east, it would be fine. But here it turns to the northeast. So big, just like the Yellow River. The more Wang Wan looked at the place, the more uncertain it was. Zhang Xiaobao was depressed. Why did he have to face danger wherever he went? He stared at the map and said after a while, I don't believe that we will be able to get rich when we get there this year. I've decided. When we get there, no, right now we will see if we have anyone doing business there. Plant more trees. Plant more trees along the Yangtze River in Shuzhou. Build dikes. If there's really a flood upstream, the willow trees will grow fast and survive easily. Tell me the damage to the trees isn't too bad now. Why is it that they can flood? Has nothing to do with that. If a lot of vegetation is damaged, flooding is inevitable. But it doesn't mean that there won't be flooding if there is a forest. The geology is always changing. Besides, what's the use of planting trees? It's not a sudden flood. It's accumulated from upstream. If you really want to plant trees, plant them upstream. Wang Wan didn't complain about the environmental damage. Even if they planted trees, it could only reduce the disaster, but it couldn't prevent it. Besides, if there were too many trees, it was easy to cause forest fires. As long as the earth was still moving, as long as the geology was still changing, no one could say that there wouldn't be disasters. The only way was to reduce the probability as much as possible and invest more money in prevention and emergency. Of course, the Tang dynasty destroyed the vegetation too much for food. But the creation of the desert couldn't be blamed on cutting down trees. There were many reasons to change the environment, and people were only one of them. Wang Wan didn't object to Zhang Xiaobao planting trees. Since people could destroy, they could also fight with nature and carry out maintenance. In the process of increasing and decreasing, many disasters that shouldn't have happened could disappear. But Xi and Zhang Xiaobao couldn't go upstream to stop people from destroying the forest and building farmland, unless they could find higher yield food earlier. Why would people care about environmental protection? Compared to a disaster that they might not encounter in their lifetime, being able to eat tomorrow was the most important thing. Xiaobao, why don't you work hard to repair the dam? It's useless to only plant trees in one place, Wang Wan suggested. Zhang Xiaobao laughed and said, "Don't I know that planting trees is useless against floods? Just an excuse. There must be good farmland nearby." If you want to plant trees, will they let you? Isn't it to strengthen the dam? I don't have a deep impression of this place. My father has to develop there. The transportation can't be compared to places where there are canals, and the mineral resources are not easy to develop. How can we not think of some access? Looking at the map, we know that the place is not big. As long as it is planned well, planting food will not be delayed, and we can also plant some medicinal herbs. I found that people nowadays pick medicinal herbs instead of planting them. Let's plant willow trees there. In the name of disaster prevention, we can plant medicinal herbs in the space between the willow trees. In the future, we can sell medicinal herbs. 100-year-old ginseng may have mutated parts, but I don't think there is any difference between a 20-year-old ginseng and a 5-year-old ginseng. At most, we can increase the dosage. Since we don't know how to plant ginseng now, we will plant what we can. Is that what you think? But where will we sell the medicinal herbs after planting them? Wang Wan understood that Zhang Xiaobao's thoughts were not on disasters at all. Excuses, all excuses. Of course, we will sell them to our own families and hospitals. I don't know if it's because of the development of our society at that time or the current society. You say that doctors are important, right? They are. Even the palace has imperial doctors. On the other hand, their social status is too low. We can help craftsmen by organizing competitions, and doctors should be the same. This profession is the same as teaching. If we can guarantee their moral character, it will play a very big role in promoting the development of society. I am prepared to wait until the day comes when the people of the Great Tang can enjoy treatment at an extremely low price. In the spirit of internationalism, good things should be shared with other countries and races, and they should be able to enjoy better medical treatment before the people of the Great Tang. The price should be lower. For example, a stone of copper ore can be exchanged for a medicine to treat colds. For example, the Yin Xiao tablet in Chinese medicine should be used to help them. Also, Japan, which has been living peacefully with us, should enjoy the same or better treatment. There should be a lot of silver there, right? One tael of silver for such a big pill that can help digestion. Cheap. Zhang Xiaobao finally showed his dirty tricks. His hand drew a circle with a diameter of about 3 centimeters to show the size of the pill. Wang Wan nodded. Understand. You're planning to shift the losses from the subsidies to others. The benefits you speak of are only for the people of the Great Tang, and then you'll have others pay the bill. What's the difference between that and the Western countries of our time? They used various means to pressure their own people's welfare on other countries. That's not the same. The social system is different. They are capitalist, which I am very disgusted with. I want to protect imperialism. Compared to our time, the current medical treatment is backward, but now it is advanced for other countries. Nowadays, the people of other countries yearn for the Tang Empire just like how we yearn for the Western countries in the first 50 years of our time. They would rather spend 50 or 60 renminbi to buy fried chicken from a foreign chain store than spend 30 or so RMB to buy a roast duck. This is not only related to the value of the goods, but it also represents a kind of consumer psychology. It's not the international standard price. At that time, the money to eat abroad was cheap compared to the currency of that time. Wang Wan also knew about that period of history. How is it cheap? It's not cheap to have fewer things. Without vegetables, the price of vegetables is high in foreign countries, and they pay attention to the nutrition. In China, there is only meat and vegetables. Fortunately, I didn't live in that era. Let's go and ask Grandpa Bai. Has my father's matter been settled? Zhang Xiaobao seemed to have specially studied the history of that period. He pulled Wang Wan to ask about his father. When the two of them found Old Man Pai, the Old Man Pai first said to them, "Xiaobao, Cuckoo, now you can rest assured. The place has been settled, and the official of lower class 3 is in our hands." Lower class 3. I thought it was upper class 4. Zhang Xiaobao was stunned for a moment. At the same time, he had other thoughts in his mind. Back then, he thought that Xuzhou was like Zhongzhou, which was upper class 4. Now his father was lower class 4. Since he could be lower class 3, he must be the provincial governor of Shangzhou. If it was Shangzhou, there must be a lot of food, and the economy must be prosperous. Was that place really that good? While Wang Wan was happy for Zhang Xiaobao, she also asked, "Grandpa Bai, what about my father? My father is still a lower class 4 scattered official. This is not easy to handle. We will find a way in the future." Old Man Pai didn't expect Wang Wan to ask for an official position for her father at this time. It was indeed not easy to achieve this wish. He had just arranged a position for Zhang Zhong, which was a position that was exchanged for benefits. It was a bit too much to add another one in immediately. Zhang Xiaobao knew that Old Man Pai had done his best. It was not easy for a person who was already idle at home to help. He didn't get any benefits from the exchange. Since it was not easy to handle, then it would be delayed. "Grandpa Bai, when will my father take office? We can't delay the spring plowing." Zhang Xiaobao asked the thing he was most concerned about. Chapter 551. With the arrival of Li Sun's fief, Zhang Zhong's final post was also announced. He would only be a secondary grade 3 official. This was what Zhang Xiaobao thought. Xuzhou was too small. His official post was bigger than Lu Zhou's original post, but there were fewer avenues for development. Xuzhou was an upper province. Among the several counties under its jurisdiction, only one was a middle county. The rest were all upper counties. If one wanted to make money in such a place, the simplest word was greed. However, this word was impossible for the Zhang family. Zhang Zhong was determined to be a good official, and Li Sun was also prepared to let the people under his administration live a better life. Zhang Xiaobao felt a lot of pressure from the merchants in Xuzhou. The collusion between officials and merchants would always happen. Zhang Xiaobao wanted to tell the merchants there, "Come and collude with me. I'll integrate you and make a fortune together." However, he could imagine that when his father arrived there, no merchant would take out money to bribe him. It was not that they did not want to, but they could not afford it. They were not fools. How much would it cost to bribe Zhang Zhong? If they took out 10,000 strings of coins, they would blush. If it was 100,000 strings of coins, Zhang Zhong might look up and give it to Zhang Zhong. The Zhang family could throw a mansion worth a few strings of coins to the new provincial governor of Luzhou. So why would they care about money? "Xiaobao, you're in trouble, aren't you? The people in Xuzhou are not like the people in Luzhou. If you give them some benefits, they will be grateful and go to the upper counties one after another." Wang Wan was also in a dilemma. The previous methods did not seem to be applicable in this new place. A real beggar would kowtow if you gave him a dime. A professional beggar would scold you if you gave him a dime. The people in Xuzhou lived a good life. What help could they give? The thoughts of the rich were also different from those of the poor. Zhang Xiaobao also knew what he was going to face, so he said, Yes, it's difficult. Fortunately, this is the Tang dynasty. If it were our time, people would be smart, and it would be too difficult to win over anyone. Don't expect a gentleman to die for his bosom friend. Since material things can't be satisfied, then let's start from the spiritual side. Xiao Bao, Cuckoo, hurry up and show me the map. Have a place now. When I go there, you two must take care of me. Li soon arrived between the clouds and the water with a transparent lantern in his hand before the 20th day of the first lunar month. It seemed that the person who helped him board the boat must be very tired. Commandery Prince Li, what are you talking about? You are now a secondary grade 1 official. My father is just a secondary grade 3 official. If we want to talk about taking care of you, it should be you who takes care of us. Zhang Xiaobao said to Li Sun meaningfully. Wang Wan also echoed. Yes, we should call you Your Highness in the future. Commandery Prince is also a prince. If Your Highness has something in the future, you can send someone to inform us. Why do you have to come in person? Li Sun was stunned. It seemed that he did not know Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. After a while, he recovered and looked at Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan carefully. How can you do this? I know that you once said that the most ruthless imperial family is the imperial family, but I am not. I can't reach that position. Other than you, I don't have any friends. I would rather not be a secondary grade 1 commandery prince. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan originally wanted to test Li Sun and see if he had changed. That way they could change their strategy. At this time, when they saw that Li Sun was about to cry, the two of them could not bear to continue. The person who should have died was still alive because of their appearance. It could be said that they had created a new commandery prince. Wang Wan had always treated Li Sun as a child. Since Li Sun was like this, she could not bear to hurt him. She looked at Zhang Xiaobao. Zhang Xiaobao was also relieved. He immediately said, Young Master Li, you can't say that. You will be a commandery prince when you arrive. If you want to show your status, you need to practice now. Suzhou is a rich place, and Tang County is especially rich. When you arrive, you don't know what you will face. You need to learn some skills. I have already planned for you. When you arrive, you will first build a pear garden. It will be the same as the ones in the capital and Huayuan County. However, the content will be different. You can no longer wear cotton clothes. You must wear silk. It is not far from Chuzhou, so you can use the cloth there. No matter how smart Li Sun was, he was not as smart as Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. He lacked experience. Wang Wan was a descendant of an aristocratic family. She had been in contact with all kinds of people since she was young. Zhang Xiaobao was even more so. He had seen all kinds of people and encountered all kinds of things. When he heard the two of them say this, he was finally relieved. He was actually very lonely. Although many people came to flatter him just because he said something, he did not need this kind of so-called help. He wanted true friendship. Counting with his fingers, he only had Zhang Xiaobao, Wang Wan, Luer Xenair and Wei Wei. The others either avoided him because of his status or deliberately approached him. If he lost his only friends, he really did not know what to do. Then shouldn't I find more people who can play musical instruments? Why don't I get them from Huayuan County? Anyway, the people there will listen to you. Li Sun was not stupid. He understood Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's meaning in one sentence. They were following in the footsteps of Wang Wan. You don't need to find others. You can train them when you arrive. I have already thought of several ways for you to perform. The first one is cuckoo. Zhang Xiaobao could now carry out his plan, which was to live a spiritual life. Wang Wan cooperated and lowered her voice. She tried to sing in a man's voice. The birds on the tree are in pairs, the green water and green hills, with a smile, you and I are like mandarin ducks. Zhang Xiaobao played along. Mandarin ducks. You, what are you singing? So nice and interesting. Will I use this when I arrive? Li Sun understood. This was a new thing. He figured he would have to learn from the imperial uncle's pear garden when the time came. The man insisted on singing a woman's voice while the woman sang a man's voice. This was something he had never seen before. When Li Sun saw Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan singing and gesturing, he suddenly felt envious. Is this what you mean by riding a bamboo horse and circling the bed to play with green plums? I'm about to get married, but I don't know what kind of woman I'll marry. I don't have the final say. You two are the best. You've been together since you were young, and you'll be together when you grow up. Send me more cement. I'm going to build cement roads in Tang and County. Yes, just give it to me. Don't worry about the others. They're of the same generation as me, so they can't afford to offend me. If anyone tries to make things difficult for your family, I'll help you hold them back. Li Sun made a promise to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Indeed, he thought the same. When he was in Luzhou, he had often shared the burden of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. The people of the same generation in the imperial family hated him, including the crown prince. Everyone knew that the Zhang family could make a lot of money. No one dared to touch them, but how could the imperial family let them go so easily? However, whenever they wanted to make a move, they would be stopped by Li Sun. There was nothing they could do. Li Sun was the son of Prince Si Ning, and he was adopted. In fact, he had two fathers. One gave birth to him, and the other was counting on him to continue the family line. Not to mention that he was very obedient. Even if he tried to rebel and failed, he would not be killed. If Li Longji wanted to kill him, he would have to face two brothers at the same time. There were so many marquises, but they could not interfere in the lucrative business. It could be said that they both loved and hated Li Sun. Li Sun would give them many precious things every year, and they were unwilling to reject him. However, they always stood in front of Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. If it was not Li Sun, but any other son of an official, these people from the imperial family would dare to look for trouble. However, Li Sun was different. He could directly write a letter to Li Longji. They had never seen someone like him. Even if there was a trivial matter, he would write a letter to Li Longji and chat with his father. He also talked a lot about how he dealt with the Shin family last time. As long as he did something secretly, the descendants of the imperial family did not have to worry at all. Even if he threatened a small family, the small family would have to stand firm unless there was an official in the imperial court who could protect them. The Zhang family had also been threatened before. In the end, not only did the Zhang family not compromise, but the Zhang family retaliated. Moreover, Li Sun kept snitching on them. The descendants of the imperial family were very depressed. Zhang Xiaobao understood the meaning behind Li Sun's words. He nodded and did not say anything about this matter. He knew that this was not only because of Li Sun, but also because of Li Longji. His family had given Li Longji many benefits over the past few years. Apart from inventing new things for Li Longji, they had also secretly given him shares. Moreover, all the things they gave out were for the benefit of the country and the people. As long as Li Longji was not stupid, he would not do anything to the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Xiaobao, Cuckoo, what do you think will be the most valuable thing we can plant when we get there? After Li Sun dealt with the matter of the pear orchard, he thought of the development plan for Luzhou. We'll plant what the locals used to plant. I haven't told you this before, but it's not too difficult to increase the production of food, especially under such circumstances. Zhang Xiaobao hesitated for a moment before he finally decided to tell Lu Zhou about the Mai Fan stone. This thing was indeed very important. Although it was only a small amount of elements, it had a great effect on plants and animals. Otherwise, Kashin-Beck disease would not have developed due to the influence of water quality. Even drinking a ton of hard water would not have any effect on the body. The main thing was that it had a long-term effect on the human body. The Mai Fan stone had a slightly faster effect on plants. The reason why Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not use the Mai Fan stone to plant plants was not because it was ineffective, but because it was not worth it. It was just like how oil was not refined. Instead, it was smeared on firewood in its original form to light a fire for a big brick bed in a village. If one smeared more oil, Even the ashes of the brick bed would be pushed out. However, that was not the true value of oil. For the current generation, the Mai Fan stone was not very useful. It was used for bathing, soaking rice, and purifying water. No matter how the Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan used it, they did not need too much of it. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not stupid enough to sell purified water and mineral water. With Zhang Xiaobao's explanation, Li Sun finally learned the methods to increase the production of food. The first method was the selection of seeds, the second was the disinfection, and the third was the comprehensive use of fertilizers. The fourth was the Mai Fan stone, and the last was the casting of seedlings. The last method was the pesticides used to plant cotton, such as lime water and indigo. Why didn't you tell me about these methods earlier? That way, it would have been more convenient for the Sanongsi to research new seeds. Li Sun was dumbfounded. It turned out that the Zhang family knew more things, but they had been doing it secretly. No wonder their food production was so high. Young Master Li has played poker before, right? The more people know about your trump cards, the less safe it will be. If you did not have to go to a new place and make achievements in a prosperous place, this secret might not be known to others until a few years later. Zhang Xiaobao was not lying to Li Sun this time. He was indeed paving the way for Li Sun. It was good to be a county king. He did not need to pay the rent tax, and no one else would. If Li Sun paid the tax, then he would also gain a lot of benefits while offending people. He was very capable. Moreover, Li Sun had an advantage, and that was he was rich. If others paid the rent tax casually, it might make others think more, but not Li Sun. He had paid 100,000 strings of strings to help build the canal. Zhang Xiaobao had also paid 110,000 strings of cash. It was the safest for Li Sun to put the money on the table. Suzhou was much closer to Sanshui County than Luzhou. The transportation was relatively more convenient. One could enter the canal from the Yangtze River, and it would be easier to get to the canal. When the Zhang family and the Wang family were preparing to move, Old Man Pai was also ready. He had now formed a habit. He could only enjoy life with the Zhang family. Moreover, he could also see the development of the Zhang family in a certain place. In order to help the Zhang family, he also asked for a few sets of furniture from the Zhang family, the most luxurious kind. Even the crocodile leather cushions were included. They were all gifts. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were very touched by the old man's actions. Although it was free gifts, both of them knew that there were many people who did not want to give whatever they wanted. With Old Man Pai around, they did not have to worry about this. On the 27th day of the first lunar month, the fleet of the Zhang family and the Wang family set off. Yes, it was a fleet. They sprinkled salt on the ice that had not melted and used manual labor to dredge it. They dredged the small river from Sanshui County to the capital. At this moment, the capability of the Zhang family was truly displayed. Many people used to describe the Zhang family as a city of ice in summer and cold flowing water in winter. What they thought was impossible was possible for the Zhang family. When the Zhang family and the Wang family set off, the water of the Yellow River had not completely melted yet. Many officials and aristocratic families were watching to see what the Zhang family would do. Zhang Xiaobao knew that at this moment, they had to cross the river by water. The method of travel involved too many things. Whether the local officials in Suzhou would be convinced or whether the people who wanted to deal with the Zhang family would be deterred, they had to do it before the water of the Yellow River melted. 10 tons of salt were sprinkled from the capital to the place where the canal connected. The large fleet of the Zhang family moved. Unlike before, the ships of the fleet this time were modified before the Zhang family set off from Sanshui County. An inch-thick iron plate was installed at the bow of the ship, and a half-inch-thick iron plate was installed at the place where the ship could touch the water. The ship did not carry more goods or people, and a lot of stones were installed at the stern of the ship to weigh the ship down. Even the left and right wheels of the ship were also wrapped in iron sheets. The speed was slow, But when the Zhang family's fleet moved forward against the layer of ice that had been melted by the salt, everyone who was prepared to see the Zhang family and the Wang family make a fool of themselves was speechless. Strong, too strong. They understood that the Zhang family did not have to travel on the river. It would be the same if they traveled by land. However, they chose the river. This was not a question of whether the ship could cross the river. It represented the attitude of the Zhang family and the Wang family. When the fleet broke through the ice and moved forward, the smart people understood that it was not the ship that was tough, but the Zhang family and the Wang family that was tough. They used this method to tell those who wanted to scheme against them to weigh their own weight and see if they could touch the proud bones of the Zhang family and the Wang family. Looking at the fleet that was slowly breaking through the ice, everyone who was watching was moved. Chapter 552. It took 12 days for the fleet to reach Kaifeng. Fortunately, this waterway was relatively straight, unlike the upstream where there was a several character. Otherwise, according to the fleet's practice, they would have to spend more money and cause local floods. As soon as the fleet passed, the Yellow River was immediately open to navigation. Some of the fishermen had boats and were very grateful to the Zhang family's fleet for opening up the road. They could cast nets in the river to catch fish again. There was also a small group of people who were very angry. They could have dug holes in the ice to catch fish, but now they couldn't catch any. The people who were ferrying people back and forth had work again. The people who could walk on the ice were a little resentful. They couldn't see too much and only knew that they had to spend money again. However, they didn't know that fewer people fell into the ice this year. Even if the Zhang family's fleet didn't break the ice in advance, it would have to open the river in a few days. It was very dangerous to walk on the ice. The Zhang family directly paid more than 30,000 strings of coins for this trip. Salt that cost money. There was also the iron used to charter the ship. In addition, there was also a ship that was unlucky enough to encounter a big hole in the ice. Its wheel was also broken, so it could only be left in the local area to be repaired. They should be grateful to us. Li Sun stood at the bow of the ship, his nose red from the cold wind, and muttered. Now he was no longer as ignorant as before. His way of judging things was more and more similar to Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Spending a lot of money to break the ice was a little benefit that the Zhang family left for the capital. They could lead water downstream to soak the land in advance. Since the Zhang family and Wang family of Sanshui County, Zhuangzi, most of the people followed suit. This method of compressing manure was fast and the manure was fertile. The main reason was that it could compress a lot of straw and leaves together. It had been used for several years. In addition, according to the method provided by the Zhang family and the seeds cultivated by their own research institute, the Sitong temple had been planted near the capital for 2 years. The output was very high. Last year, the amount of grain transported from the south had decreased by a lot. The Zhang family and Wang family did not fight over this credit. They gave it to whoever deserved it. Presumably, the people in the imperial court all understood this. In addition to being able to soak the ground in advance, it could also make the ice melt faster upstream. The faster the water flow, the faster the ice melt. This could prevent the formation of ice dams in the shape of a cross and minimize the possibility of a spring flood. This method was very good. If it could be used together with the burying of gunpowder, it would save him a lot of trouble every year. The insightful people in the imperial court also discovered this problem, but the investment was too large. 30,000 strings of cash, and this was the cost of the Zhang family's own business. There might be a spring flood once every 5 years. The scale of this flood might be large or small. If it was large, then it was worth investing tens of thousands of strings of cash to clear it in advance. If it was small, there might not be any danger at all. No one could bear to spend so much money every year. No one dared to mention using money in exchange for unknown dangers. The people in the imperial court clearly knew the benefits, but they could not mention it. Li Sun was different. He had his own ideas. He was going to discuss with Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan about buying gunpowder and learning the fixed-point blasting technique. This technique had always been mastered by Wang Wan, and no one else knew how to do it. Li Sun believed that the Zhang family had mastered the method. He wanted to take out 50,000 strings of cash every year to break the ice before the river opened. He thought it was worth it, although 50,000 strings of cash could buy 25 million caddies of good grain in normal times. He had money. All kinds of business with the Zhang family could provide him with an income of more than 200,000 strings of cash a year. This did not include the money that had been invested in the development of new industries. When those few places could make money, his income would be even more. He was not going to rebel, so he really did not know what to do with so much money. In the past, he earned money so that he could have a better life. At the same time, he could show off to his peers in the imperial family. Now his life was much better. He had the most comfortable furniture and his own fleet. Others might buy them at a high price, but he was buying them at a cost. It was a crime not to spend money when one had so much money, and others would be jealous. Li Sun now understood Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's theory. That was, consumption could improve the national strength of the entire Tang Empire. When there was demand, there would be output. Many people were too simple-minded. They did not think about how to make more money. Those who had land would only guard that small amount of land. They only planted one crop of grain a year. They were busy in spring, followed by summer, and harvested in autumn. In winter they stayed at home and did not go out. How could this work? Li Sun had seen the construction of the people in Luzhou. They could always find work to do, and they were not tired. They spread out their rest time, and their annual income was 100 times that of the ordinary people around the capital. Part of it was because of the region, but most of it was because the people could not think of more ways to increase their income, so they had to be guided. Li Sun wanted to do this now. He had learned many ideas, and they were not taught by Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan. Instead, he figured them out based on Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's way of doing things. There were all kinds of animals in the capital. They were not raised for food, but for viewing. Then, the people could raise them as well. They could raise rabbits and deer. Why did they have to go hunting in the mountains? Li Sun thought about it. First, he would invest 50,000 strings of coins a year to dredge the river that was about to be developed. Then, he would take out another 50,000 strings of coins to encourage the people in the capital and the north to raise animals, especially in places where the land was sparsely populated. He would casually plant some food that people did not like to eat, and when the time came, he would raise animals. A coat made of rabbit skin could be sold for 700 to 800 copper coins. Backward. My thinking is too backward. Li Sun moved a chair and sat at the bow of the ship. He looked at the beggars on the dock and gestured for someone to bring them over. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan felt that Li Sun seemed to be obsessed. It was fortunate that they brought him along to do business. Otherwise, based on his ideas, there was no need for them to live. Whenever there was a small matter in the imperial court, he would take money. It was fine if he took it himself, but every time, he would have to drag Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan's families into it. Even the other merchants who worked with him could not escape. For example, the construction of the canal should be done by the autumn of this year. The imperial court had originally planned to invest 250,000 strings of coins to build a simple canal to connect to the main canal. In the end, just Li Sun and his family took out 210,000 strings of coins. The other merchants added up to a total of 400,000 strings of coins. Li Longji immediately stopped taking the money and changed the blueprint of the canal, making it wider and farther than the original one. Fortunately, the person in charge of building the canal was an official from an aristocratic family under the Ministry of Works. With Lu Jiro's suppression, he did not dare to be greedy. Otherwise, he would rather waste manpower and send people from the inner court to build the canal. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were not afraid of spending money. They would have more income in the future. They were worried that the money they took out would not be completed and instead be embezzled. The two of them hated embezzling project funds the most. If they were really capable, they could turn a lower county into an upper county. It was acceptable for the county magistrate to embezzle 1/10 of the rent. The commoners did not care how much they embezzled, as long as they could eat more and live in better houses. They were good officials. While Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan were thinking about this matter, Li Sun saw that the two of them were not speaking. He said, "Xiaobao, say something. How can we make the commoners not be ignorant? Isn't that simple? Let them be literate and read all kinds of books. Let them understand how vast the sky is and what the sea is like. They will naturally change." Wang Wan directly gave the answer. "That's simple. Then you have to help me. I plan to provide such a place for the commoners to learn in 3 years." Li Sun was full of confidence. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan shook their heads vigorously. 3 years. It will be good enough if all the commoners can become literate in 30 years. We can't take out tens of millions of strings of money to help you achieve your wish in 3 years. Why do you need so much? Li Sun's idea was simple. He wanted people to build schools in poor places. He wanted to build one in each village. It did not require too much money. He would use local materials and the commoners would be able to learn. Zhang Xiaobao and Wang Wan did not need Li Sun to say it. They knew what he was thinking. Zhang Xiaobao felt that he had to continue teaching Li Sun. He was thinking too simply. Don't think that building schools is enough. The commoners won't learn. If you want the commoners to free up time to learn, you have to feed them. You have to increase productivity. This is not difficult. Within 3 years, we will definitely find crops with higher yields for the commoners to grow. Then we have to build roads. We have to encourage the commoners to raise more poultry and livestock. In the early stages, we even need to borrow money from them. Next is the printing of books. This is not difficult either. We have already improved on papermaking. Little Kai's method is not bad. We can build factories overseas and use the trees there to make paper. When we open up wastelands in the Great Tang, we should try not to burn them. We will not leave the grass and grass behind. We are willing to invest this money. We will set up papermaking factories everywhere. We have new printing methods. This is simple. The most difficult part is the literati. When we print books, we can't do it like now. Look at that ice. In the literati's words, it is ice. The water is colder than water. How long will the commoners have to learn? They can say that water will freeze when it is cold. But this is definitely not possible. The literati finally have something to show off. Will they let you use simple words to express simple things? Wouldn't people find fault with my raising earthworms to feed the chickens? It was said that the earth dragon was born in the earth and existed from the earth. Chickens eating the earth dragon was chosen by the heavens. Humans could go against the heavens. He was doomed. This was pure bullshit. How was it heaven-defying for me to raise some earthworms? But what the common people want to learn is precisely this kind of knowledge. You teach them, there are many fishes in the water, there are fish in the water, there are carps 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 in the water. People just want to know how to plant more food, how to raise chickens to grow faster, and what can't be eaten together with what. This is called class. In order to protect their own mystery and interests, they can do anything. When Zhang Xiaobao mentioned this matter, he felt sullen. If he wanted to teach more people, he had to consider the current environment. A lot of knowledge could only be taught to the villagers. Outsiders were not allowed to know. Li Sun also remembered this matter. He chuckled and said, "That official who impeached your family was exiled. Why do you still want him? He is also stupid. Of all the times to impeach you, why did he have to impeach you when there was a plague of locusts in the Hunan province? Your chickens were eating the locusts. Since there is too much resistance, let's do it slowly. At least under my rule and your father's rule, no one can stop us. Do you know why your father was assigned to Shuzhou? It was not only because your family exchanged two good things. The most important thing was that the previous provincial governor was too unreasonable. In the past few years, Shuzhou handed in 110,000 strings of coins. The fluctuation was not big. But in recent years it was getting less and less. Before the shipment at the end of last year, it was reported to be 60,000 strings of coins. That was Shangzhou. It was not even as much as your Sanshui County. The tax of Sanshui County was more than the tax of two Shuzhou. If you don't teach them a lesson, who do you want to teach them a lesson? Nowadays, the imperial court would compare Sanshui County with other places. In the past, they would always be praised after paying the tax from other provinces. However, ever since Sanshui County's tax was introduced, even if Chuzhou City sent 180,000 strings of coins as tax last year, the imperial uncle only said, "Got it. This time I sent your father here because I hope to repeat the situation. The most important thing is to fight with the local families, officials, and rich merchants who have been bribed. It's not that they don't have money, it's that they can't collect it."
I see.
Good, I like it. Zhang Xiaobao nodded, indicating that he understood. Wang Wan was also very excited. She wanted to see Zhang Xiaobao's methods in business. When Zhang Xiaobao and Wang family were at their most difficult time, Zhang Xiaobao was able to do whatever he wanted. He made all the merchants who came to look for trouble suffer. It had been a long time since he last saw them. He missed them. The more powerful the businessmen in Shuzhou were, the better. There were many movies that portrayed ancient times. The government officials were troubled first, and then they found evidence to deal with them in one fell swoop. That was a little bad. Why did they have to find something to deal with them? Wouldn't it be better to fight with the merchants directly? Zhang Xiaobao did not know that Wang Wan was thinking about this. He said that it was because the situation there was complicated, and it was easy to train his father. That place was not Luzhou. It was difficult. As for whether he would fail because he could not win, there was no need to think about what would happen after he failed. There was no such result. Li Sun was not worried. He did not believe that anyone could win against the Zhang family. Other officials were afraid that the local families and merchants had connections with someone or a few people in the imperial court. They were afraid that they would make trouble behind the scenes. They were afraid that they would be involved with a marquis, a county prince, or a prince. The Zhang family was not afraid. If it was related to the imperial family, it was enough for him to show up. Everyone was of the same status, and no one could suppress the other. Besides, he was rich. Didn't Xiao Bao and Cuckoo say that money could make the world go round? More importantly, he could write to the imperial uncle at any time. It was not a memorial, just like a letter to home. This was a privilege that only he could enjoy. Who asked him not to live with the Zhang family and the Wang family? If the imperial uncle wanted to know about the situation of the experts in the Zhang family, he would have to write a letter. A letter to home was much more useful than a memorial. No matter what happened, he could write it. Whoever dared to make trouble in the imperial family would be punished by the imperial uncle. There was no need to worry about the pressure from the officials of the imperial court. The news had probably reached Shuzhou by now. It meant that he could not count on them to speak for him in the imperial court. He had to think of his own way. Zhang Zhong's matter could not be fooled by anyone. The imperial uncle, the prime minister, and a few other important officials were watching. They could impeach him, suppress the memorial if it was reasonable, and punish him if it was unreasonable. If it was said directly in the imperial court, they would change the topic. They hoped that the Zhang family could create one miracle after another. Li Sun could guess what the imperial court was thinking. If Sanshui County could be turned into an upper county and pay so much rent every year, wouldn't the upper province pay even more rent? Whoever dared to make trouble was no different from courting death. "Your Highness, they are here." The person who went to lead the beggars came back and brought the 6 little beggars to Li Sun. "Well, take them to wash and change their clothes. Then go with the boat. Ask them if they have families. If they do, take them with you. If they are rich, take the children with you. Remember, if you see such people, take them back to the manor. Help as many as you can." Li Sun casually glanced at the 6 children. After giving the order, he did not mention this matter again. He now understood that as long as it was within his ability, he would help. If all the rich people in the Tang Empire could be like him, would there still be beggars in the Tang Empire? Begging did not mean that they could not do anything. In fact, there were no other opportunities. With the knowledge they had learned, it was still very easy to find a job. Let the children study. When they grew up, they would be useful. The 6 beggars did not know how noble Li Sun's identity was. They only knew that the person who gave them food and clothes was more powerful than the county magistrate. The county magistrate trembled at the sight of him, not to mention the village chief. It was very scary. Xiao Bao, how many days will the boat stop? Don't delay the spring plowing. After the 6 children were taken away without even asking for their names, Li Sun asked Zhang Xiaobao in boredom. Originally, we planned to leave today after replenishing our supplies. But since we will encounter trouble there, we can only stop for 2 more days to prepare. 2 days of delay is not a big deal. When you get there, there will be a lot of good farmland. You can plant whatever you want. At the same time, you can also buy the wasteland. Zhang Xiaobao was also very leisurely. He and Wang Wan did not have much work now. Every day they only had to study, exercise, and play with their younger brothers and sisters. They did not have to care about the livelihood of the people and had more energy to spend on calculations. It was very interesting. Li Sun nodded. He believed that Zhang Xiaobao would not lie to him for no reason, but he could not think of what to do with buying the wasteland. Before he asked, Zhang Xiaobao explained to him. After buying the wasteland, we will build houses on it. Most of the land will be used to raise scorpions. I want to do an experiment on a small part of the land. If there is a mountainous area, we can also raise more snakes. The development direction of that area will be changed in the future. Every place needs to have its own characteristics. This summer, there will be no shortage of food. A lot of food will be shipped back from overseas. Suzhou does not have to produce much food. I plan to build a base of medicinal herbs there. You will be the first one to eat crabs. After eating it, teach it to the local people and try to grow other medicinal herbs. Oh! Medicine can be raised and planted. What about selling it? In the future, there will be no shortage of medicine in the palace. This was the first time Li Sun had heard of such a thing. In the past, it was always a place that had medicinal herbs as a tribute, using all kinds of things to replace the rent. If they could be raised, then fewer snake catchers would die, and they could just find snake catchers to raise the snakes. Zhang Xiaobao nodded. It can be planted and raised, but the effect of the medicine may be a little worse. It doesn't matter. Just increase the amount and sell it to the hospital. You need to summarize the various problems during the planting and raising, then let the local people plant and raise them. We will buy all of them. It is not like the scams of the 5 Lakes Chamber of Commerce. Can the hospital still make money? If there are too many medicinal herbs, what if the hospital can't sell them? Li Sun was worried that if the output was too large, the hospital would lose money. Otherwise, the hospital would not be able to make a loss. Otherwise, if the income was not enough, the hospital would die. It is not enough. I plan to open day hospital all over the Tang Empire. I don't expect to make money. I just want to maintain the capital. The rich spend more, the poor spend less. For pregnant women, children, and people who have reached a certain age, free medical treatment will be implemented. That you're tuning in to the Whispers of Romance YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.